fiscal year. So
Sorry.
there were a few adjustments in it, but we've got, well, just starting where I like to start, total assets of $1,496,768.46 in total assets. And that includes our buildings and equipment and roads and everything we've got. But in cash, in Midwest Bank, we have $191,612. And in the excess checking account that's set up for overflow, so it improves our federal insurance on the account, we have another $417,931. And we have our infrastructure crisis fund that we did fund this month. The total is up to $245,704, and then a little over $500 in petty cash. So our total checking and savings are $855,767.90. Then we have accounts receivable of $295,666. So at this point, we still have some deferred assets yet from our special assessment, as well as from our June 30th or July 1st of this year assessment. But back to our total liabilities and equity of $1,496,768.46. Any questions on it?
I got a quick question. The difference between the Midwest checking account, and you said that there was tax liability associated to it. Is that would that basically supplement a crisis fund if we had to?
The money moves in and out of there. What we've done is we've set up the regular checking account, the whole 200,000, and everything over it flows over. So basically, we're trying to hold the regular checking account at 200,000. And so it's not a tax situation, it's the federal insurance.
Federal deposit insurance.
Okay, copy.
So they had suggested to us a couple years ago that we divide our money into a couple accounts, which we did. We're just trying to make it a little less where we don't have to mess with it so much. We don't have to go in and make transfers. They're just automatically going to balance that so that we maintain.
Yeah, we're the limits of
200.
insurance. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
To your point, possibly we could if there was a crisis in the.
Sounds like that's just liquid money just in a different account.
Yeah,
It actually isn't liquid money. It is,
payroll, basically.
Yeah.
it's basically because all the assessments come in predominantly
Oh,
in
right.
one lump sum. That is really the, operating assets to meet the budget that we put together for the rest of the year. The cash reserve, if you will, even though it's not titled that, is the capital improvement account, which is 105,709. So that's the only real liquid money that's not in a crisis mode that we have
Everything
available
else.
to us.
You'll see in the finance report, I'm going to give you copies of the budget and see how that ties. I mean, this isn't extra money by any means.
Deb, if I could add one thing, we did fund the dredging.
Yes, we did fund
Fund.
both the dredging and the infrastructure crisis fund. That's why we have a dredging fund on here, because it's our first deposit
Where is
into it.
that at? What's the number?
10-10-8.
Oh, okay. To start,
Yep.
and next year will be the full amount, right?
Next year it'll be this,
Plus this.
yeah,
Plus
this
this.
amount, that's a carryover because we had divided this year's payments into 5 installments. The profit and loss statement is shown here with September and then our fiscal year to date. And for some of you, maybe that's confusing. It definitely is confusing, but our budget year runs on a July 1st to June 30th year, but our tax filing year runs on a January 1st to December 31st. And that's why we were just filing our tax return, which I'll mention. We just got our tax return filed because it's always on extension. The extension can only go till October 15th, and we got that file last week. Our profit and loss statement shows money in and out. Our net income for September was a minus 42,355. We've got a couple things on here that point out under payroll expenses, other 60/40 in the middle of the second page. That 973, we're going to recategorize that. It actually was a refund back from, was in two parts. I think the most recent one was almost a year ago, and then the smaller part was even further. So that's income. That's good. Taxes back. Any questions on this?
No. You want to make a motion? Oh, you got presentation of bills.
Right, one more. Okay, so our total checks written for September, 85,301.66. They include some summer expenses. We've got the first stop services, which is the porta potties. We have several checks to them. We have beach security in this month payments, and then we also have Aqua Service Consultants, where they came in at the end of the year working with Nick on water treatments, and then that'll be the last. I don't think we'll have another bill for them this next month. The ICF deposit, you can see check 2851 near the bottom of the first page that I mentioned, because that goes into a CD that we keep at Midwest Bank. If there are anything unusual, any questions?
Other than we got a few voided checks on here, what is the reason behind all that? Days Internet, Americom Imaging, Beach Security.
Well, I know,
I mean, there's a significant amount. I guess the Beach Security was because of the spelling.
how to classify it. Yeah, there-
All right.
So really, the reclassifying the beach security is
All right.
several checks, and then Bay's high-speed wireless. I don't know what we might have voided. Wendy, do you know why we have voided checks for Bay's? The good news is they're zero. They didn't cost us anything. I don't know if the check was written wrong. But there was no money out for those.
I just, my concern is I see 3 voided checks and 1 written check for $25, which just seems a little strange, but
Well, I can look at those.
yeah, just. I will entertain a motion for the approval of the treasurer's report and presentation of bills.
1 second.
Need a
Somebody
motion?
make it.
I'm entertaining one. You guys got to make it.
Okay, John, you're making it?
I'll make the motion to accept the
Is there a second?
financial report and presentation of bills.
Any discussion? I think we kind of already had, so. All in favor of the approval of the treasurer's report and presentation of bills signify with an aye. All opposed. Motion passes.
Good job, Deb. I like the way you went through that. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Communications report. Yeah.
Correspondence we received this month is a question on tree removal from an easement. The answer to that is that if there is a tree that needs removed in easement that there is a home built on the property or improvement on the property. It is the homeowner. If it is, there's no home there, then the POA has been taking care of it. There's a question on the timing for releasing the campground deposit refunds. And we are working on a policy for that. That's in progress. Then there was a question on if we were going to be painting the speed bumps in here, and Tom had already had.
That was pretty much done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's done or it's underway, but Tom had already had the paint on order and was scheduled to start it the next week.
There were,
So
I know.
there's several of them that were done. I don't know if they're finished entirely. And then the correspondence sent was, we sent out the September rain tree roundup. There's a communication on the discontinuing of the open gates for Real Estate Sunday. And also we held a security meeting on Amazon deliveries, which we can do an update on in the business. No, I'll do it.
All righty, thank you, John. So right now we will have a presentation of the gas gate security situation at hand that we are looking at upgrading. So Brian, if you don't mind coming up, and you're more than willing to sit down or stand or whatever, but just to kind of let everybody know, the gate, the security, the access has been a question for the last 5 years, ever since I've been here, and we've thrown a ton of money at it, and it just doesn't seem to be the answer to what we need to keep the subdivision safe. So Adam has reached out to Brian, and he's got us some paperwork that he's gonna go over a little bit of it tonight, and then at a future date, we will vote on this for an approval of upgrading both the access gates, or the access systems, and I don't want to spoil your thunder, but a fourth gate similar to the guard shack area. So it's all yours.
So my name is Brian Glenn with Board of Communications and Security. Board of Communications do work with all the Mercy hospitals, Bush Stadium. We have a very wide network. I myself am Hillsborough local, so I've passed by about 1,000 times. So I appreciate the opportunity. I got to come in and finally got to satisfy my curiosity about what was going on over here. So Adam approached me with two different problems. So the first problem was that people were coming into the lake area. They were driving into the gate. They were getting either be able to pass completely through or drive underneath. So that was the first problem that was brought to my attention. The second problem that was brought to my attention, this is something I witnessed firsthand, is the current RFID system doesn't work properly. You have to get very close. Some people have a hard time. My first night over here, there was a gentleman, he was in front of it about 4 minutes, waving his card at the gate. That itself is, it's aggravating. There was traffic forming behind him, and that was one of the things that he wanted to address. So those were the two problems that he initially brought to me to help fix. So the solution that we came up with, I'll pass out these flyers, for the access control, let's take one down, pass it around, is a new RFID system. So this system would mount on the antenna poles themselves and has a range of 30 meters. So you put a sticker on your car, and as you drive up, it reads your sticker and opens the gate. So especially like winter months such as this, when it's kind of annoying, you have to roll down your window, it's cold. During the summer, it's hot, it's kind of an inconvenience. I've been there. I've lived in the gated community myself. It's frustrating. So this right here will allow you to kind of, it takes the card aspect out of it. Because I mean, I myself, I'm a very forgetful person. You forget your card, you get annoyed, you got to call your wife or your spouse. They got to come up there, they got to let you in the gate. So this is a way to kind of fix those problems. So it has a range of 30 meters. It works it's RFID, so it works in any kind of climate, any kind of day or night, with a backup keypad, just in case something does happen to the sticker. Let's say it gets scratched up, so that way you're not being left high and dry at the gate trying to figure out how to get home. So this is the access control system that he wanted to look into for 3 gates and then 1 additional gate, which is what I'm going to talk about next. So the second problem that we had discussed was the trespassing. So after Adam asked me to have a subcontractor come out here for the gate portion of it to see what we needed to do to beef up the gates that are currently in place. After talking with the contractor and realizing it was not going to be very cost effective to basically redo all 6 gates with a heavier duty. Forgive me, I am not a gate expert. But with a heavier duty system was going to be well into a couple $100,000 with what you guys would need. So granted, this was one contractor, but I did call around and it did seem to be pretty much the same. So the solution that we've decided to come up with was leave the current gates, the 3 gates, do not touch them, only upgrade them with the new access control, but add a 4th gate, a new gate with heavier duty security. So this 4th gate would be a steel gate with a mechanized motor on it. So that way with the addition of a fence, so that there's no way to drive through or drive around. Now this would be a swing out gate. So the kind of caveat to this, it was swing out gates versus a pop-up gate. Pop-up gates are very quick. So the swing out gate, obviously it takes more time to open and close. So what we kind of decided to settle on was having the motorized gate on a schedule. So during high traffic hours during the day, when people are coming to and from work, the gate is open. During nighttime, where the people are going down to the lake, people are trespassing on properties, that usually happens Friday, Saturday nights, into the wee hours of the morning, that gate would be closed with that additional layer of security with the access and control. So what this is going to do is going to keep people from going down to the lake that are supposed to be there on a Friday night, trashing the lake, creating just a headache for all the residents themselves.
And each of the 3 gates would have another robust gate behind it, or just in one location?
Just the one location. So that would be 2 additional motorized gates right here for entrance and exit, and then 2 manual gates for here, so people can't drive around. So because one of the problems that he addressed to me is people have deliveries, pizza deliveries, things at night. So they would still be able to access this side of the parking lot. Residents would be able to drive into this parking lot right here, be able to do the food exchange. So that was the solution that we came up with.
So where would this gate be?
So right behind the guard shack.
Right behind the-
Yes. So I do have I know, Dave, you did review the proposal.
Yes.
I did bring extras if you want me to pass it around.
I sent it all to them in email and they printed it out. So yes.
So for the access control, that is something that we do and specialize in. So the fencing and gate, that is the subcontractor. And now if you guys do decide to go with another fencing company, we can integrate our system with that. This is the most cost-effective one that me and Adam have tried.
So for the backup, assuming the RFID somehow is faulty on your vehicle,
Mhm.
it's only a keypad, or do you have additional cards as well? Could we find that having a key card or a key number, you'll never have another RFID go through again.
Yeah.
You'll just pass out the number to whoever, and then they'll have access.
So we can switch this out to a key card backup instead, so that way there is no PIN, because I do understand that that could be an issue. People pass it out, then all of a sudden their number's out there and people are coming in and utilizing that number. So we can switch out that keypad with a backup card reader. So that way it kind of mitigates that.
What would go wrong with the RFID that it wouldn't work?
Let's say like you scratch it off or you go out, what's that?
No.
Snow, oh, so snow, it'll read through.
Oh,
Because it emits that, that signal. But let's say you smash your windshield, you get a new car and you haven't gotten a new sticker yet. The stickers themselves are pretty robust. But this is just an unlikely event that something does happen to it. You're going through a car wash and someone is cleaning your windshield and takes off the sticker, not realizing it or something like that. So this is just strictly a backup system. But the RFID system itself works very well. It's proven to be very convenient for people, so they don't have to continually roll up and down their window in the cold. So
correct me if I'm wrong. So you said that gate would be right behind the guard shack and people could still come through and out of the parking lot here.
yes.
So how would they would be able to bypass then that gate, right?
So there's gonna be a fence that goes up the hill, and then he wants to put like security rocks along the side. So the 2 gates would basically be blocking off this like a manual gate. So like when you pull into this parking lot and then pull up like, and so you can't pull into it, kind of forming like almost an L, if that makes sense. And then the 2 gates are down there.
So after hours, the parking lot gate would be used by everyone.
Exactly. So I do have I do have this Google Maps description if you want to take one of those. That kind of goes over the layout of it, so that we can kind of
So
visually see it.
after hours, everybody would go through this parking lot to go through the gate. And if you have a RFID, you go through one gate. If you don't, you're sitting there waiting for somebody to. Right.
Yes. Yes, that was. Yes, that
Really,
we
but,
coordinated, so depending on which side that you want to go, back up.
Yeah, me too. I was like,
oh, this would- this would be-
Yeah. they're allowed,
Yeah, that's
the same
Like a whole thing down this way.
you could just go. park it here.
Actually, it's gonna be right here.
We'll cover that with.
Yeah, we realized
Yes.
we do.
Right.
It's fine.
Yeah, that's
That's not what I was thinking.
no, that's why I asked.
And that's the nice thing. Is
I
that-
appreciate you asking. Sometimes I don't explain myself.
No, you did good. Yeah, that's.
Well, the picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yeah.
Have spikes on this one.
Yeah.
It's something like from a haunted house.
One other question, though.
Hang on.
Questions till the end, please.
We'll address this at the end. I just want to let him give his presentation and then he can get out of here and then we'll talk about anything after the fact. You have anything else or?
I think it's everything on my side. We also do security cameras as well, if ever needed, but I think that's pretty much everything I have to cover, unless you gentlemen and ladies have any questions.
Oh, I'm sure we'll have a million questions.
But just to clarify, what we're looking for is every Rancher vehicle to have a sticker that will open this gate.
Yes,
And so guests would either be stuck up here or we would have to move our guest access from down there to up here.
so there's kind of two different ways we can approach that. So if we stick with the pin pad, there can be, but it sounds like we kind of want to go ahead and change that up. So you can have different additional cards for guests that if they come during visitor hours, they get a card. And then, you can set it up for one-time use or multiple-time use. So there are different areas of approach. I can discuss with my tech team and kind of come up with a couple different, options for that. But we do have cards that are like one-time use, so,
Okay, because guest access is a big deal out here.
okay,
And right now, our guest access kiosk is at the other end of this road.
on the
Down
far.
by the
Okay.
So we have to be able to get our guests to it so that they can call us and we can let them in at the kiosk, or we have to reposition the kiosk.
Well, what
Getting
we're
closer wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, that would be awesome, because then people complain about going out there to get over here and, but that might,
Yeah,
that might
that might
require,
create a backup onto the.
well, you're in the parking lot or the side of this area. And anybody that doesn't know where they're going should be in the lot. Right.
And the busy hours would be predicated on golf course hours, honestly.
Yeah, we would probably change. Hang on, Jerry. Just save your question.
This idea of the golf course is the only reason we can't use this as our main gate.
Right.
So having the golf course be in a public business would throw us off. But I like that idea.
Yeah.
You can manually set the gate yourself. So let's say you're having golf events or you want to change up the hours, that would be in a system that you can control the motorized, the automatic settings of the gate.
Right, so this access control system obviously goes at the front gate. Is it also gonna be upgrading the back gate, all three other gates?
Yes.
Okay,
And then so because I've come out here with my tags, we've done the site surveys and part of the quote that is on the listed sheet right here is kind of, I noticed there's kind of a graveyard of old and different systems, and part of that quote would be cleaning that up as well. So getting everything down to one system, eliminating everything else, and getting it all kind of cleaned up and tidied up in one system.
alrighty,
Do you
I,
have any information on that gate that you're proposing here? Or is that?
I do not. I would have to, I can reach out to gate contractors and I believe that you have my email, correct?
yes,
If you don't mind sending me an email sometime this week, I can contact the contractors, get you some additional information on the gates themselves and the material used.
Well, that's not how to do a good job.
Thank you.
so the fencing and the gates would all be done by the subcontractor, correct?
Yes.
You are just the access control.
Exactly.
not just, but you are the access control. Don't want to simplify it. All righty, well, I appreciate you showing up. Thanks for getting back to Adam with the quote, and we will get back with you. Obviously, we're gonna have to spread this amongst the subdivision a lot greater than just this one evening, but
Of course.
we will reach out and get some questions and get back with you, and it'd probably mostly be through email, but appreciate you showing up.
Yeah, not a problem. Like I said, I'm a local. I'm only about 5 minutes away. so
Okay.
If you guys ever need anything, let me know.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Brian.
That's a good idea. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could do something more like this versus just right there, but I
Well,
think
I kind
this,
of like the idea of this, so maybe if you cut a road in here, so if you can't get access into it, you can pull back around here.
no, that's a good point.
I don't know how much road work that would take, right? But the idea of simplifying this idea for after hours, that's a real nice
Yeah.
extra security.
All right. So that was that. We are on to the committee reports. All right, so administration and legal. Well, yeah, do your administration first, John.
All right, the calls have increased, to help post for, lots for sale on the website. We've been following up with the owners with unpaid assessments. Schedule and process all campground and pavilion, reservations with the dash passes. We're working with, Jefferson County on some property damage. Working with property owners via email and in person to provide correct documents needed for the boundary line adjustments and title work transfers and deeds. Welcoming new residents and new property owners and creating their customer files. Working with ACC and other project committees. Doing prorated billing assessments on new property sold and addressing any questions from non-property owners regarding access, etc.
With the amount of lots being sold for the golf course and things like that, is it worth possibly us sitting down and going through and kind of simplifying the rules a little bit, doing like a high dollar one-page sheet of kind of the do's and don'ts of Raintree in a very non-strict but informing way that we can kind of put into a welcoming.
Well, we have an
Folder.
orientation kit. Have you looked at that?
Uh,
Okay, it's on the website under the,
is it,
Information.
do we give that to them in paper or is it just on the website?
when they come in here, we give it to them, right? We give them the orientation. So,
Because sometimes those rules get a little bit lengthy and if you're not an attorney, they're hard to decipher. It might not be worth even me going through and throwing some bullet points and kind of how do you translate it.
Mhm.
You can kind of, because there's a lot of different places to look as well, right? We have the construction rules, we have our ACC rules, we have the
right, and this document is not a rules document.
Okay, it's not, okay.
Referring them to different documents and just giving them a general sense of Raintree. It's something that several of us worked on.
perfect.
And if we do come up with or need to modify that, it's probably something we ought to put on the website.
It is on the
Oh,
website.
okay.
It's under property owner information up in the menu. And I just asked Wendy and Wendy sent it to me in Word so we can
Just it in the Monday.
adjust it as we might want to. So
All right. Thanks, John. The legal, the only thing that I know, and it's not really any kind of lawsuit yet, but we sent a cease and desist and a demand letter to the lake treatment company that had been doing it last year, Solitude, and they increased their monthly rate by, I think it was 33%, which in their contract, it says only 3%. They didn't live up to their part of the contract as far as the amount of times they would be out here, treat, maintain, send reports, and so on and so forth. So we sent that to our attorney. He sent them a demand letter. They responded back saying we owe them 20 grand. He is now sending them a letter back of where to serve the papers. So we will probably be filing suit unless the email came from a personal email and the person that sent the response for the 20 grand does not represent the company as an attorney. So I'm guessing it was somebody's buddy or friend or cousin or sister-in-law or something that sent the letter. So once I sent Ted the reports and the contract, he was pretty confident that they would probably, at a minimum, we're looking to get out of it with no cost. But we would like to get the $6,000 back that they didn't do anything for. And we didn't catch it until after the first month. So that's why it was paid. I think originally it was like, what, 4,200, 4,800, and it went up to 6,600 a month. And that was a definite violation. So that's it for legal. Architectural control.
Right, so we haven't heard any complaints about our timing or the ACC being in person, so we are gonna continue on with the 2 meetings a month. If anyone has any issues with that whatsoever, please let us know and we'll adjust it as needed. We've been discussing coming up with a common sense approach to some of our deposits that we have. That's gonna try to promote communication and coordination with the ACC. For example, we're trying to have our inspectors take before and after pictures. Most of the deposits we have for the large construction, house already existing, concrete trucks, roofing, decks, things like that. We do keep a deposit. So ideally what we want to do is kind of together with the ACC, come up with an idea of taking before and after pictures. And if there's no damage, be able to return that deposit. What that would do is kind of make people want to come to us a little bit more and be able to kind of work as a team together to make sure that everything's being followed. But we're going to discuss that with the ACC. Other than that, we have 2 variances coming up, and then we'll discuss that later on. That's it.
All right.
Nick, do you have that said an email that you're reading off of?
No, it's just my notes. You want me to send it to you?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
For the minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Communications and events. John.
All right. You gotta get used to different rotation here. You know. So again, we're going to ask everybody, please get your emails registered so that you can receive electronic communications from us. It is the quickest way we can get in touch with everybody. As of tonight, there were 599 emails recorded, so nowhere near close enough. And if we don't have your email recorded, we cannot communicate with you in a timely manner. On it, other than right now, 3 times a year, there's a paper newsletter. You know, you either have to go look on the website when something happens throughout the year or register your email so we can send it out. We don't bombard people with emails. And we'll do our best not to, but that is really the only avenue we have to communicate without forcing people to go look at the website to get the information. We're also in the planning stages of, we announced it in the September Rain Tree Roundup, and that we're looking at doing our first virtual owner survey that will give people the opportunity to provide input to items that we are discussing and may vote on to put in place. Again, that has to go through email, or you got to go to the website to do it. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to participate in it. We're also in the planning for a quarterly town hall meeting and gatherings. So if you have any ideas you'd like us to discuss at that, please let us know. One other item that I failed in the other one to mention is Jerry, we will touch base with you offline of the meeting on your item you sent to us about charity events. Then the events for this month, there were no POA sponsored events. We did have 2 independently planned community events. One was the beach volleyball tournament, which seemingly was enjoyed by many. The food truck was there for that. I should have written this down and I didn't. I thought I'd remember, but Danielle planned all of that. Bentley planned and coordinated all of that. And then Witches Night Out was planned predominantly by Nikki and Emily, and they all had lots of leads and volunteers to help them. Witches Night Out was off the charts. I mean, it was for the first time of them doing something and not to expect, knowing what to expect. I think there were over 300 witches that were out roaming Raintree, so I hid in the basement. Actually, I think I was in Mississippi. I wasn't in here, but as far as we know, I mean, I'm sure that the planners.
You were
might have
that
something.
scared of them, you had to go
Yeah,
to Mississippi.
There were too many numbers, you know? Maybe you depend off one or two, but. I think the events went off without a hitch as far as, you know, any complaints or things coming in. Just so you're aware, an independently planned community event is not something that the board is directly involved with. You will see coming up in unfinished business. You know, we did approve a couple things to help the event go smoother for them on that. And then the next event that is coming up, and this is a joint venture between the golf cart community and the POA, is the Trunk or Treat event, which is on Halloween from 5 to 9 at the boat ramp parking lot. And just a reminder for everybody, traffic is counterclockwise on Vista Halloween evening. Signs will be put up by maintenance for that. And trick or treating is only around Vista Drive, just for the safety and protection of everybody. It's kind of difficult to walk from home to home in as much darkness as we have here at night. And it's when we have drainage ditches and things going through the property, which we don't want anybody to get hurt. So the two places in here, you can take your kids trick or treating or boat ramp for trunk or treat, or you can go around Vista Drive.
Thank you, John. Just out of curiosity, I see a few new faces here. Is there anybody in the audience that doesn't have their email registered? And if they don't, do they need information on that or how to do it? Well, that's no excuse. So you can always reach out to the office or anybody on the board. Our website's got where you register at as well. Going forward, that is how the communications are going to be promoted and whatnot. So I encourage everybody, if you don't want it to go to a personal email, go create yourself a separate Gmail account for Raintree, and that's all you got to look at it for, if something pertains to that. So thank you, John, for that. Let's get as many people registered, spread the word if you know anybody, so we can get everybody on there. All right, finance, Deborah.
Okay, finance report. Like I said, Raintree's 1120H federal and state tax filings are done on a calendar year basis, and our filing for 2021 was on extension to October 15th. The return has been completed and filed timely. Next item is something new. Each month, a current Raintree profit and loss statement, balance sheet, and check register are distributed to board members and available on the lobby wall to meeting attendees and anyone else seeking a copy, just like approved minutes are available. Starting after this meeting, just because back, you know, when a year and a half ago, when I was putting together the layout for the website, I was thinking at that time that we were going to start posting our monthly financials on the website. So we are going to start doing that after this meeting. And I've been working with Nikki, our website contractor, so that we can start having the balance sheet and the profit and loss posted there where you can look at them. Okay, there have been questions among the board about the budget, and so I thought maybe we would just do a little dive into the budget, but we're not going to do it during this meeting. I'm going to hand each board member a copy of the current profit and loss compared to budget for the first quarter of this fiscal July through September. So the budget is drafted in April each year by the treasurer and the finance co-chair, requesting input from each committee chair as to their expected expense needs. The budget is not an estimate of how much we want to spend. It's an estimate of what we will have to spend, taking into account expected assessments, expected collections for delinquent assessments, boat, golf cart, and auto sticker sanctions, censures. In other words, all of our expected income. The budget will never match all assets because you obviously can't spend roads or equipment. You can't spend certain funds designated for specific purposes like the Infrastructure Crisis Fund. And you can't spend money that you haven't collected yet. So that means that budgeted items may have to be reduced later in the year if income is less than projected. Okay, the new drafted budget is handed out to all board members in approximately June for their further input and questions. The treasurer adjusts as necessary and hands it out again in July or August to be voted on and approved by the full board. I've made some notes on these copies I'm going to give you to help make sense of some of the numbers. And for some, I also attach printouts of the exact expenditures for this first quarter, so you can see how budgeted items are depleting. I also noted where some expenses are already over budget and we'll have to take money from some other budget to balance. So I'll be handing these out in just a minute. Then in addition, our maintenance crew has submitted a proposal. They got 3 bids for removal of trees here in Raintree that they consider to be a risk and that they don't feel comfortable removing them themselves because of where they are. The lowest bid is $6,000. Our budget is extremely thin in categories where we could apply this expense. I talked with our CPA about it and he confirmed we'll need to take money out of other budgets to pay for this. So I'll be making a motion in new business about that. And then finally, our CPA also informed me that the 2021 tax year that we just wrapped up was his last year of his contract with Raintree. So I need to get moving on obtaining bids and moving quickly to get a CPA in place for the calendar year 2022 tax filing. Any questions?
No, I would just like to add to that. I know you guys probably sitting out there think that's boring and move on and get going, but I will tell you the finance is the most important thing of this subdivision. And that report is the first one I've heard like that in 5 years. So my hat's off to you for putting that together. It's not always good news, but it's the truth. And sometimes we gotta play a little magic to make things work around here. And I appreciate what you've done there, Deb.
Dave said it.
I did not say you were boring.
I was gonna say it first time. Some people know.
No golf cart report. You got one that don't have a sticker, bring it up to the office. That's the report. Tim is out sick. He doesn't really have any lakes and beaches. The only thing that really is pending there is we got the boat back. The cover is in the boat if anybody wants to put it on, what little of it is left. And hopefully we can get some money back on that beach or the water treatment for the lakes. And Tim's aggressively looking at different companies moving forward. The one that's currently that stepped up to help us get through the end of the season. I will say that he's really going to have to get aggressive with something because this late in the year, the weeds are still pretty bad. And then it's not just in the big lake, it's all of them. So we need to do something.
You should get wiped out with the freeze today.
Yeah.
If not tonight, tomorrow night.
All right, so maintenance. So before I read the report, I just wanted to let you guys know that our maintenance department does a wonderful job. They're on top of it. They were helping look at a water leak up at the pavilion this weekend, thanks to Tim and Keith for taking care of, or Nick and Keith for taking care of that. And I guess Tom's doing pretty damn good because he's in Hawaii right now. Or is it Cabo? I forget which. Cabo. So they tested the snow equipment and made minor repairs, seasonal maintenance on vehicles and equipment, filled some potholes, painted the speed bumps. I noticed that. Used the mini excavator to clean out excess rock from the stream feeding Spring Lake at Redwood Drive and Waterford Drive. I guess, Keith, you're more familiar with that, what might have went on over there. Installed a new barbecue pit near the picnic bench in Cove 4. One thing we need to keep an eye on is I seen a couple vehicles parking there, and I know Tim's addressing it, but we need to make sure we get something put up that maybe, I don't think we mind a golf cart rolling through there. Maybe we put up some kind of post and chains that doesn't allow a car to fit through it. Yeah, I seen a car in there one day too. Cut down some dead trees from the campgrounds, finished up grass cutting for the season, rented a bucket lift to remove old communication pole from the front gate area and replaced an inoperative security light with an LED fixture at the rear entrance. Met representatives from DNR to look at the Spring Lake spillway where some concern has been voiced by residents. They saw no cause for concern and said the concrete looks like it was poured just how it looks now. Yeah, if you guys want to touch base on that later, you can. If anyone has any areas that needs attention, please fill out a work order and we will assess what can be done. So again, if you see them, wave to them, thank them. They're doing a great job out there. Roads. You may well.
Obviously, as you know, we're still waiting on the installation of flashing light at B and Column Drive. It was scheduled to be installed in October, but no updates from MDOT at this time. I did happen to overhear that on Old 21 headed towards DeSoto, they're going to do that one first. But once they have the equipment to do that, this equipment is supposed to be delivered with it. Road replacement repairs will be conducted the first or second week of November. And Denny is planning on presenting to the board in the November meeting 4 or 5 different plans regarding the maintenance shed location. Once the board approves the location, we can then move forward with soliciting bids.
Thank you. Rules.
So we reviewed the complaints, all complaints that were able to be censored have been, or warnings were given. We didn't get that many warnings. We're continuing to work through the gate violations and coming up with new ways to handle them. Which I'll mention later on. The complaints that we've had so far, since I've been on the board the past month, were dogs not being on their property owners' yards. They're either roaming around or they're barking in people's garages. That's something that was definitely addressed recently. Biggest complaint was breaking through the gates. We have a serial crasher that was doing it like 5 times in a matter of 2 weeks. So the censures were sent out to her. She's not going to be very happy. But that, well, I have something for that later too. And the other one was a side-by-side that was went through the gate during the Witches Night Out meeting.
Did we know who that was?
We did actually, they ended up using a code for somebody's house. So the censure was sent out to them as well.
I think they made their way into the parade as well.
That I did not know.
Yeah, it's a white side-by-side four-door. There was
I think it
a,
was-
there was a white four-door side-by-side in the Witches Night Out parade,
I did not get reports of the white one. This one here just went for that gate.
one side-by-side and one Wiccan.
Apparently the people are used to having somebody come through with side-by-sides. So,
Interesting.
the reminder, there's no burning allowed in culverts or creeks or anywhere that's not a fire pit, as far as I know. It is $100 censure if you are turned in. Burning hours are from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. There were some complaints, again, of boathouses or docks getting wet. So if boating, be mindful of docks and boathouses and where that line is that you're not supposed to be crossing. Oh, yeah, I just said that. Stop breaking the gate because you can't get in. We have a guest kiosk you can use. Parents, tell your teenagers the same thing because you are responsible for a censure if they break the gate. It's fall time. People want to leave their dogs out. Do not leave your dogs unattended outside and do not leave your dogs outside if you are not home. There was another complaint of somebody, they were not home and their dog was barking constantly until they got home. Read the rules or ask someone in the office. If you aren't sure something is against the rules, it's better to be safe than sorry. And miscellaneous. I had talked to a couple of different board members about putting the ACC guidelines and the voting rules on the website for new owners. Some people don't get the guidelines or they're not updated for whatever reason that the people just don't get, or they don't even look through. And the voting rules, as far as I know, I don't even know where anybody can find those. I just
They're on
happen
the
to.
committee pages. And when you go to committees, the rules for ACC, for voting and fishing are on those committee pages already on the website.
Is there a way we could possibly move those to the new, to the new owners?
The owners tab.
Well, that's where we started them, and then somebody wanted them moved to committee pages. And so-
want them to be involved.
Yeah, there's no.
I mean, you know, I know we struggle with the ACC as
Yeah, we
well.
struggle with that because they're not simultaneously updated.
Link one to
Somewhere
the other,
else.
it stays updated, but I think more people are apt to go to the owner
Mhm.
page.
That's usually where we tell them to go to look for all the
And the owner
information.
page doesn't have everything there. It has the covenants, the bylaws, and
Well,
I
that,
think the rules manual, but it doesn't.
it's some
have-
misinformation on what's allowed and what's not, if there's not all the rules on there.
If somebody doesn't search past that to go to the ACC or the committee pages, they're never gonna find.
Well,
other
let's see
info.
if we can add links.
Yeah,
I know we definitely deal with it on the ACC.
well, the documents there, we can just put a button on each location, so the document just gets updated.
And we're gonna skip over that porta potties one because I got my reports mixed, but what was supposed to have been there was something that John has mentioned previously, which was taking pictures of people that are breaking our gates, that we have no way of knowing who the card is from, who they're going to see, or any way of getting them censured to not break our gates, was to be able to take just their picture of their face and either post it on our Raintree Neighborhood Watch site. We could just put in text what the type of car was and to have them report in wherever they see the car, because we obviously have their license plate, but we don't need to put that out there. That way we don't have any confusion of people looking specifically for these cars and issues. Just they can take a picture of the car, whatever house it's at, and then we can deal with it that way. Because right now we have so many people breaking the gates right now, it's not even funny. So I feel like if we just post their picture of their face, at least somebody's gonna recognize it, or they're gonna at least keep an eye out. And I feel like it would be a lot easier to get these censures done because they keep doing it and it feeds our people's guests.
So what you're looking for is for people to post them, for people to.
No,
post them, or
for somebody on the Raintree, like we have the Raintree board profile, we could post in the Raintree Neighborhood Watch group, like on Nextdoor or on Facebook. I feel like the Nextdoor one would be better just for the neighborhood itself. We just post their picture on there. We can take all comments off. Excuse me, we could take the comments off, and that way it's just like a notifiable thing. They don't have to comment on it, they don't have to like it or anything. If they have a problem, they can always call the office or get a hold of a board member if it's somebody they know, and we can take care of it that way.
That's what you're looking for, is we will post them
Mhm.
and look
Yes.
for people's responses to identify who those people are, and we can call the office or a board member with that information.
With the information, or preferably a picture of proof, just that way we're not censoring somebody the wrong way. That doesn't look like it's not, because people do it on Nextdoor all the time. They post pictures from their videos, their Ring door cameras. I haven't seen anything that technically is illegal, because we are not in any way, shape, or form defaming them. We are just merely seeing where they are coming from, because we're not saying anything bad about them more or less, but they're breaking our gate. And it costs money.
Does anybody recognize this person?
It pretty much, does anybody recognize this person or vehicle?
And the key is just to make sure it's a private message back to whoever posted it, whatever page that is. So that way you don't have neighbor against neighbor.
Pretty much.
To your point, instead of going through, I mean, I don't mind if we go through Nextdoor on the back end, but this weekend, there was some discussion around the incident report that's on the website. And there's the 3 gates that you can report that somebody knocked down, and then there's other, which is usually somebody complaining about a dog or running over their yard or whatever it may be. We have since split that notification up. So the gates, any of the 3 gates that get knocked down, if you submit an incident report, will now go to gate security. And the proper people have been identified in that group, email group. That's gatesecurity@raintreepoa.net. So those addresses have been populated from the incident report to the gate security. For the other section, if there's a dog or something else outside of a gate being down, the incident report will now go to incident@raintreepoa.net, and that would be the other field. And that is going to go to the board only. So the problem we noticed is people were seeing, originally the gates, the incident for the gates was great, and it still is great. But then we started getting incidents that people were complaining about dogs or boats or trailers, and it was going to people that fix the gates, which we really don't need that to be. That needs to stay within the board, and we figure it out and we address it. So there are a couple phone numbers or email addresses that don't have phone numbers associated with them, and we will get with those people as far as the text and the email. So I've got all the phone numbers and a couple that have no phone numbers associated with it. So we will get with those people and get those segregated. But if you got a gate issue, it's gatesecurity@raintreepoa.net. It will be updated on the website if it isn't already. If you can also send the personal email if you want. If you want to just send it to Gate Security, that's just where the form will go. If you select one of the 3 gates as a drop down, and if you select other, it goes to incident@raintreepoa, and that goes to all 9 board members and probably the office.
We're gonna
So
post that at the gate itself in that bulletin board.
we can.
That might be the best place for it, honestly.
Actually, Wendy and Tammy brought this to my attention on Saturday, and Nikki had it done by 1:25 on
Can you
Saturday.
give me a list of the gate people? I'll bring it.
Yeah, I'll forward you this email address.
One more thing to add to the gate thing. Every time a new owner comes in and they sign their paperwork to get their gate cards, their gate keys, everything, they do sign a form that says that they are responsible in any way, shape, or form for anything that is done to the gates in any way of vandalizing, destructing any of it, that they do acknowledge that they are responsible for that.
Right.
So
There might be something in there. We can add a little snippet that about the pictures.
and we can always post it up on the actual boards we have outside the gates for the first couple of weeks even.
I don't know about a video, but the incident report now accepts attachments. So that's why where you started saying the picture and whatnot, we
But
can
we have
attach
most
that.
of those through the security cameras or the gates. I mean, just for people out there, I mean, think of this, every time that gate's busted, it's your money. You know, we don't have a money tree.
It's their money, is that what you're saying?
Their money, you know, they pay the assessment and.
We
you know,
can't understate the amount of times it happens too.
Oh, I know. I
Sometimes
mean,
it'll
this
happen.
weekend was atrocious.
Yeah.
It has been like 8 to 10
You
times
know,
a weekend.
And the other thing, not pointing finger at anybody, not, but 9 out of 10 times, sometimes we have a vendor that breaks it. But 90% of the time, it's Raintree Communities visitors that are doing it. I mean, we have a video, of one guy, he came up, stopped and kicked the gate so violently that it shook the mechanism box on the side. And then he tugged on the gate until it broke off, threw it in the woods and drove in. You know, the serial gate crasher.
Yeah, I watched all the
They
video
were
on that.
able- They were able to trace the serial gate crasher to where they parked in Raintree. That owner's getting a fine for it because we can't identify.
We
the
now
serial
got nicknames for
crasher.
these guys.
So, I mean, just gate. No, gate, GATE, gate. So it's, you know, I mean, that's why it's such an important thing is that, you know, we're spending money to fix these gates constantly when most of it's coming from residents' guests.
not only that, but we also have people that live in here behind a gate for a reason, exes, other legal issues that they need to be behind the gate to feel safe. We have children that get off on these buses by the masses. Those children need to be safe as well, and having those gates broken, just anybody can come in. It could be my kids, it could be anybody else's kid.
When the gate was broken this weekend, we got a report that there was a boat out on the lake with no sticker. So,
I would like to say, everybody loves to live in a gated community, but the thing that nobody understands is living in a gated community is a major inconvenience for the property owners. But we want that. We want to have to get a card or a code or a picture or an RFID. So, you know, when I hear these stories about, oh, the one gate wasn't opening, I had to drive an extra mile to go to the other gate and it took me another 15 minutes to get home. You know, it's an inconvenience. It just is. And that inconvenience helps protect our lives, our kids, our family, our property. And it is what it is. And it's just, I will tell you, this board spends probably the majority of the time through email and text, the gate's down. There's the water spigot's broke. There's this, there's that, you know, it's just crazy the amount of people. And I guess the goods or the if I have to look at it in a good way is people are dying to get in here. If they don't watch it, they're going to die to get out. But everybody wants to be here. And I think the subdivision is, you know, coming back. Hopefully the economy straightens out a little bit and things will be better. But I mean, we had a hell of a 2.5, 3 years of selling houses and building houses and whatnot. So it's definitely moving in the right direction. But I will tell you, we spend a ton of time on rules and security, and every year we talk about upgrading security, and we just can't seem to get that perfect fit, but hopefully we're gonna get it. Thanks, Desiree. Security. So Adam is not here. A little bit of what the security was what we spoke about earlier. So we're in the process of getting bids. It's like pulling teeth to get anybody to give us a bid on these access control systems and gates out here. Personally, my opinion, I think that's a great scenario, but I think we need to tweak it a little bit. I would like to see new gates, period. I might disappoint Joe, who is the master of fixing them.
But I do this. I get incident reports. Fix the gate. I found another incident report saying that I fixed it. I don't want somebody else to fix the gate, but I go up there and fix it. There has to be some way for everybody to let everybody else know it's not fixed.
So anybody that's,
Well, somebody should be, everybody should be seeing that email though, Joe.
right, but when you go, if you were gonna take the initiative to go up there, just do a reply all and say, I got it, or I couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, reply
I get-
all.
When you do that, I know I get it. So I'm assuming everybody.
do a reply all to,
What was that?
Yes,
do a reply all to the incident report?
Yeah, because it comes in an email.
yes.
I think he's filing another incident report is why you're saying.
That's what I've been doing.
He's not doing.
No,
reply
just
all.
do a reply all from the existing one and say, hey, Joe, the master gate repairer is fix the gate. Yeah, that,
Text,
no, he gets the emails.
email.
You're using the email to do it, right?
I have to use my computer.
That's not a bad thing.
Preaching the choir. Preaching the choir, man.
I've seen you respond to it though, Joe.
Yeah. That goes under where are we doing it at? Oh, okay, yes.
It would be under new business.
Yeah, no, because we got to vote on it.
That's where you go on it.
New business, right?
Okay.
All right, I think that's all the committee reports. Yeah. So unfinished business, motion for WNO, which is night out.
So he goes off, there's All right, for the record, we're reading off these motions and voting that were time-sensitive issues that had to be handled in between the board meetings. So to get them formally in the record, we'll read them off. So for the Witches Night Out event, there were two motions that were made. One motion was to waive the campsite and pavilion fee rental for this event for this year in support of the Good for Raintree. That motion passed unanimously. The second motion for Witches Night Out was to waive the vendor's fee for this event for this year in support of the Good for Raintree. I'm not sure the count of the vendors, but normally the food truck vendors pay a nominal fee to be here. But to try to help this event get off the ground, we made those motions and they were both approved unanimously.
Do we need to vote on those again?
We probably should just to put it on the record. So I will make a motion to waive the campsite rental fees for Witches Night Out. Any discussion? All in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. I will also make a motion for the fees waived for vendors for Witches Night Out be waived. Any discussion? All in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Back to you, John.
If you want to do it.
Tree
Because we're, that
removal.
was already. we just
Yeah, the
had to read
tree
it out again.
removal. Tom said he put copies of these bids in everybody's box, but did we get them in our packets?
No. Packet, they were sent via email.
Oh, that's right. I sent them all out to everybody. Okay, so this is for a cluster of dead trees by the gate, 3 trees that are leaning over the pavilion, 1 cottonwood tree that's on unimproved property at 9389 East Vista that we've gotten a complaint about, and an oak at 9410 Swanee. So Tom got 3 bids. This proposal is for total cleanup of all wood limbs and other debris. And stumps are to be cut off low and left unground. So the 3 bids, Bauman Tree LLC bid $8,000 for that work. Gill's Tree Service bid $7,450 for the work. And Unlimited Tree and Outdoor Solutions bid $6,000 for the work. So Tom has recommended the Unlimited Tree and Outdoor Solutions. Now, if you look, we don't have that money in our maintenance. There isn't any money budgeted for something like this. I talked to our accountant and I talked to Denny. Denny is our chair of maintenance as well as chair of roads. And Denny volunteered to have the $6,000, if that's the bid we approve, come out of roads. So that would need to be part of the motion. So I'm going to make a motion that we approve the bid for Unlimited Tree and Outdoor Solutions for $6,000 and that we take the money out of the roads budget. We have a second so we can discuss it.
I'll second it.
All right, so the motion for the $6,000 bid for tree removal and coming from the roads budget. Any discussion?
Assuming that we've already verified they've got a COI and
Yeah,
insurance.
already
and
received it.
everything.
So
I think my,
didn't we took money from the dredging fund and put it into roads for this year? Or we
can put it anywhere.
just
No.
took it out?
It's actually, she had completed the budget before we made the motion, before, I guess it was whose motion, I don't remember, to only put in one 5th of this year. So we do have about $12,000 that isn't budgeted. My perspective on it, for its 2 cents worth, is that the roads budget, we don't, that's about $12,000 for the next 9 months. That's our flex money. Right now, the roads money isn't spent yet. The roads money will all be spent and we won't have that to fall back on. If we take the 6,000 out of that 12, and then he spends the roads budget, we don't have any, we're down to 6,000 for emergencies.
So that doesn't make sense. So the roads budget is tied to a quote?
Yep.
So we're assuming that we're gonna take $6,000 out of that quote and not get,
It's not all quoted yet. The majority of it is.
The roads, it's all.
it's quoted and then
It's
works.
all quoted, it's all approved, it just, that work
The
hasn't been
entire
done.
budget?
Yeah.
Why did you say?
So that was my question, is where are we getting the 6,000
Oh,
from?
you know what, no, I take back, he has some, the roads budget has, some money in it that is for an emergency repair, something that pops up after the fix is done that can't wait.
What's the possibility of getting the $6,000 back from the dredging, last people that did our lakes?
If we go to court, probably a good chance, but I think,
Either
Timeframe wise,
dredging or
though?
the lake treatment.
who knows?
Yeah.
And, you know, would we consider this an emergency, these trees? Can we take it out of the emergency fund?
It's not infrastructure.
Not-
So you can't. And my 2 cents on it would be, is we need to take the time to review the financial as Deb had prepared and gave everybody as to overall, what are we up in, what are we down in? Because, you know, we should be saving some money in the lake treatment. But we got to categorize it. We need to figure out what's going to happen with this Solitude. We do have the dredging money. I know that we did spend on the food truck pad and the picnic area, the concrete work that was
That came out
unbudgeted
of
at the
Lakes and
time.
Beaches, yeah.
You know, so I think what we need to do is look at the overall budget, figure out where are we over, where are we under? Are we comfortable with where that the overage isn't continuing? Are we comfortable with, you know, what we haven't spent isn't going to be spent, and have a clearer picture over all of it? You know, I'm okay with this motion to say we'll use it from roads temporarily, so we can earmark it and he can get the work done, because I think these trees he deems at risk of causing other and
Damage.
further damage that will cost more money to fix, that we just have to go through the budget and
Well, I'd like to see
put the money back in roads.
Is there a written budget on what the roads have as far as the money is concerned? I mean, because that all should be earmarked for a bid, and there should be,
Then he has,
Okay.
but I don't have it with me.
Yeah. no, that's
I mean,
fine.
it was all in the bid. And we chose where we were gonna spend the allocated money on it.
This is how much is in that fund that he's gonna be pulling the 6,000.
Want to say there was like $9,000 on that wasn't spent out of it.
Yeah, because I like the idea of possibly having a separate meeting, right? I don't know if it was closed
We
or
don't have
open or
to
whatever.
approve this right now, but we do need to approve it before the next meeting.
Yeah,
I think we can earmark in this motion.
yeah,
the
a
money
temporary
can come
fix
from
until, we
roads,
can- yeah.
so he can get this work done before it does some damage and cost us more money that we have to find somewhere. But we have to go through the budget more, you know, piece
I'd like
by
to,
piece.
honestly, I'd like to get, maybe it's just us, maybe it's a public meeting, whatever, access to the QuickBooks, go through the budget and then be able to dive down on certain sections of it and see, okay, the budget for office supplies is
I did that.
5,000.
That's what I gave you.
Well, I'm saying of all of them, so we can go through, see what we're spending on overages, because this budget is good, but it's not gonna show us our overages. It's only gonna show us what was budgeted and what's left over. So,
I think what I gave you is gonna
It
be
does.
really helpful.
Yeah, we did, I mean, I saw it.
yeah,
What Deb did already, but.
but they're not all dove down on, just, there was just office supplies and another sheet, right?
There were 5, I think.
5 drill downs.
Okay.
ones that seem like the ones we'd be asking questions about.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean,
But we
there's
can-
extra
yeah,
money in
we
those
can
too.
do the meeting, but I think that we should leave the money in roads because we already cut back roads earlier.
Well,
We
this
just
whole-
gotta figure out where it is and we can, earmark it from somewhere.
I just don't like the shell game, right? I
No,
don't
I
like
get
the robbing Peter to pay Paul, and
Yep.
every year there's something different that's coming up that's caught us off guard, and we gotta get away from that.
Well, I think one thing is we need to not budget all the money that.
Well, we need it, so.
But these things are gonna pop up all the time.
Oh, that's, yeah. Would it make
How
sense to,
tall are- I mean, here's my concern. We got 3 dead trees. Well, 3 or 4 of these trees are on common ground. 2 of them are on probably, I don't know if they're close to residences on East Vista and Swanee.
Right. Lee doesn't feel that they can take them down without causing risk to, there's nowhere to drop it, if you will, safely.
You've got to have a professional out there cutting it down.
I'm no professional, but me and
But are you
Bill,
volunteering?
well, not really, but me and Bill dropped 3 75-foot plus trees in a shoebox last weekend.
Well,
I just, $6,000 seems like a lot of money.
yeah,
Golly, I mean, especially being on common ground by the pavilion.
If the tree goes down while we match over the pavilion, we're not covered for it.
Or
Whether
destroys
they
the
knock
road.
it down, they're gonna.
All right, well, so what's the motion on the table? Any more discussion about it? I mean, you got concerns, I got concerns. We gotta find the money.
Well,
I
the
guess
other-
it's gotta get done one way or the
the
other.
other option is that if we don't want to take it out of roads, we could say that we could designate that it'll come out of that unbudgeted 12,000.
I just like to see the roads budget, what money we have in there and what it's been allocated towards, because my fear is that,
Yeah,
So
that's
say we
not gonna
have-
be on here. I mean, I'm not gonna know.
no, right, I'm saying, yeah, afterwards, I'm saying like
There
that.
is, I can answer, there is $6,000 of money in the roads budget that
So,
is not part of,
So that's saying that we allocated 220,000, our bid came in for 215, is that what we're kind of getting at?
yes.
So to that point, what makes more sense to me is leave the roads budget as it is. And pull that $6,000 out of, if nothing gets repaired, we don't have these damages afterwards, then you can pull it out of there. We use it out of this other
Right.
12,000, but in the back of our mind, if we don't have a road cut that we gotta fix or something, then it comes right back out of that roads budget. I'm okay with that, even though I still think $6,000 is a lot of damn money, but
Yeah, because it's not technically a roads budget at that point, it's just, we've gotten our bid. We
It's a
suffice
maintenance
our, yeah,
budget.
that goes back into the general fund.
It was money for something that may come up that unknown that you're
This,
gonna have
just
to
like
fix, that you can't wait until next year's.
Oh, I
roads
see what you're
project.
saying, right?
So while we didn't spend it on the bid of what's getting fixed, it's not that it's, I mean, if nothing else goes wrong, as Dave
Well,
said,
it sounds like that's,
then we're,
it's even more of a
yeah,
case to
we'll
keep it in there in
spend it.
case because we haven't done the paving yet.
is
So-
the maintenance budget exhausted? What have we?
There's hardly anything in it. It's
Oh.
like 1,000. Or as you look through it, you'll see, I went through the different, where can we take it from? And I couldn't find where to take it from. And so that's why I was kind of diving into trying to understand more of the numbers on the budget that I penciled on so you all could see.
I'm good with doing it from the roads budget, but in the back of our mind, we gotta be
put back. I mean, I
right,
think once
especially if
do
we
the
don't
budget-
have any
once-
issues that,
Once we do the budget review, the money's put back. We
Okay.
just temporarily earmark it from there.
Well, the question is, so say we, and I'm good with taking it from wherever, I'm just thinking out loud here. So if we do go into paving and we do need that $9,000 because of something happened, are we gonna be then able to take that $9,000 out of the general fund? Or the 6,000, yeah, that 12,000?
Yeah, it's just a matter of when,
who gets it first?
yeah,
Yeah.
Really,
That's probably why Tom was asking for this and that and the other right off the bat. He's
He
been around
knows,
long-
yeah.
he's been around long enough to
Spend it
know.
while we got it.
well, and going forward, we need to consider that as a budget item.
The way we've done the budget in the past, it should fall into it because it's an expense we had for the trees, so we should be able to roll it into it going forward.
One of the things that I handed out to you all was a copy of our expenses for this just finished fiscal year compared to budget. So you can see what we budgeted a year ago and what we spent over that 12-month period. And so the budget for this year was based on that, but she only budgeted what she thought we would have. You know, everything we could spend pretty much is in there. The only difference is that we, because we were so tight on it, came up with that motion to deposit this first year's dredging fund in 5 installments. So we have 4 installments left.
And we've had 2 years of security special or maintenance special assessment that kind of helped out for equipment and whatnot. So we didn't really need a budget.
So it's really just a matter of, do you want to take it out of roads or do you want to take it out of that unbudgeted amount?
I think,
I'd take it out of roads because
Right.
Denny said he'd work with it. Once we do the bigger, deeper dive budget, review of where we up and down and is that projected from the committee heads to hold true, then we can say, okay, we're gonna move it from here to something else that makes more sense so we can put the money back to
Right.
roads.
I'm okay with that.
So the motion was to approve the $6,000 bid from Unlimited and to take the money from roads.
Right. All in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. Thank you. All right, new business, ACC variance for above ground propane tank at 9647 Dupper Drive.
Before we get into that, is there a time, I don't know if it's probably the best time to talk about it, but is there a time that we can sit down as a board? Is that something we want to kind of plan out maybe after this, kind of be able to go through those finances, dive down into every one of them, and see where we're high, see where we're low? Because I'd like to start this new board year off with a clean slate financially, see if we all make sense and see what that budget.
Why don't you look at what I gave you first? And then I think a lot of your questions are going to be answered in that, but then we don't really have a category that we could have a closed meeting. It would have to be an open meeting.
Okay, we can have one meeting
And-
in there.
That leads
There's nothing
to what we
hide in
kind
the
of talked
financial.
about in the previous meeting. We're contemplating having a board meeting, not a board meeting, but a open forum every 2 weeks. So once a month for a board meeting and 2 weeks prior, an open forum to try to get ideas out there, things that need to be discussed. People need to be heard of them. And then like this would have been a perfect thing that, I mean, money, when you're looking for money, there's no easy answer to it, but take a look at what Deb said, see if we can't maybe, we can, if we want to have an open board meeting, we just got to announce it and put the agenda out there and get it out there. We could make it a standing meeting so everybody knows about it.
Budget review.
Yeah, and each meeting could have a different topic. But it makes sense, one meeting a month for us to try to talk amongst everybody with being guilty of a quorum is tough. So, to your question, yes.
Yeah.
We can,
See where we're at, see what our budgets look like, even from across the best way to not spend money is to save it, right? So be able to go through all of our budgets and figure out where they're at, see why they're set the way they are, see what they compare with year after year, be able to forecast where we're gonna be. If we just do that deep dive all through everything and understand it through, and I'll go through this, and I definitely already have, to figure out why our budgets are set the way they are, and then if we're spending too much because we have too big of a budget in a certain category, that's money saved. So if we do that in 4 different categories, we save $1,000 here, here, and here. All of a sudden now we have availability for a maintenance worst case scenario fund? Because we're an older
Well,
subdivision,
I
this
can
road.
insist that the budget was set based on run rates, known contract increases, known that we weren't going to do something we did in the past. And, you know, and one of the things that's affecting us, if there's 8% inflation,
Mhm.
I don't know that we knew, you know, that we were gonna be, you know,
Yeah, we're getting
8%
crucified
inflation,
for
so
2%.
yeah, so,
I will say, we're
No,
only
so
in the
that-
first year of a 5-year increase
so
too,
that's how it's built.
That'll
So I think, but, you know, certainly I think a good understanding of where we're over, where we're under, and the questions of, you know, what is behind, you know, especially where we're over what we planned, and, you know, then we can see where we sit, because there are some items that are under. And if they stay under, then it helps pay for the tree removal.
All right, let's agree to get a town hall or whatever we're calling it to try to, and the first one will be finance meeting. I mean, maybe we just, I don't know if we put a time frame on it or a time limit on it, but we can figure that out. So you
Well, it's
got,
good from a transparency standpoint that, you know, what we're doing up here is not hidden by any stretch of imagination. We're figuring out just as much as everybody else is. We're trying to give this information. We're
Right.
figuring it out all together. That's the main point. Okay, so ACC variance for a propane tank. Mr. Saka brought the information to me about a propane tank. He's a longtime resident of Braintree, and his underground propane tank is degraded. And he is looking for a variance to use an above ground propane tank of 500 gallons. Being his home is full propane and the cost of underground tanks, he's looking for the approval to abandon his empty underground tank and install an above ground 500 gallon tank instead. He's brought it to the ACC. We kind of wanted to touch base with the board, see what they think, get approval from them on a variance on this. You know, verbally said that he would landscape it so it would not be an eyesore. It has to be a certain distance off the house. So it is, you know, it's not something you can tuck up real close to the house, but, you know, landscaping with bushes and things like that, were all discussed.
And my understanding is he's struggling to find 250-gallon tank.
let's, how about a motion first and then we'll get a second and then we'll discuss it.
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve a variance for a above ground 500 gallon propane tank.
Second.
Okay. So the discussion is, I know there's some existing, I mean, it's kind of a hardship for the guy. I personally don't see a problem with it, but definitely ACC is gonna have to stick to it, make sure it's cosmetically okay.
So what we would do is we would just assign an inspector to it just as a normal construction project. I don't think there's a deposit or anything on there, but we can discuss that, what that looks like. Just to maybe collect a small deposit just to get it on our radar and then return it once there's no issues with the concrete. But like I said, in the current times to install underground tank would be just extraordinarily expensive, and being that had been here for so long.
Yeah, he is definitely all propane. I guess he was grandfathered in to that.
Yeah,
You know, my 2 cents on it would be change the rule. Don't do a variance on it, change the rule. If this one's gonna be okay. Because then you're gonna get another request and a variance and another request. And today, a
Well-
variance isn't supposed to be requested on a financial hardship. So
right.
if this one's gonna be okay, change the rule.
To
Don't do a variance.
allow you to go from underground to above ground,
Go
Or
for
to
up to
allow-
500 gallon tank.
or to allow 500 gallon fuel tanks to run a house on propane.
The only thing I disagree with that a little bit, John, is having it the way it is gives them the authority to regulate it a little bit versus
Well-
just having everybody with a 500 gallon tank in their yard.
I mean, they still can regulate it and changing the rule.
Okay,
We know
Yeah.
it's a rule and not a covenant, right?
It's an ACC rule.
so
I
what would the
mean, I
rule
don't
be
know that
that,
there is a rule that you can't have a
No,
full
there
house
isn't a
on
covenant.
propane. It's on the covenants.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it.
Do you want me to read it or you?
I didn't bring it
Go
with
ahead,
me.
read
Go ahead,
it,
read it
please.
off.
No storage tank shall be above the ground on said lot except a propane tank limited in size to 250 gallons and used solely for outdoor grills or indoor gas fireplaces.
So he's got like, what, 30 years of sensors coming?
No, because his tank was originally underground. So the only reason they say that is because above ground tanks are specifically 250 gallons or less to be specifically used for fireplaces.
But there are, well, I would tell you, this is one of the things that I know we can't change the covenants at this table.
Mhm.
That is no way, shape or form what the hell's going on here. People
Oh, I
got
know.
cooktops, people got gas grills connected to their propane tank. There are, homes in here that have propane furnaces, water heaters. I mean, there's even at the corner of, I think, Peachtree. At one point in time, they allowed big tanks above the ground here, and you can see his going down Plantation. So,
Let's,
I don't know if that's in the covenants. I don't know that you can approve a variance for it at this point.
well, that says 250 or nothing greater than 250.
Minimum size 250 gallons.
And that was the counter argument too, in discussion, the property owner, I said, what if we did 250 gallon tanks, right? To try to figure out a way around it, but you can't even define the 250 gallon tanks in this.
Yeah, that was his problem.
impossible. And that would be,
Just wanted to pull it from North Carolina or somewhere out that way was where the only place you could find it from.
My suggestion is,
No storage tank shall be above the ground on said lot except a propane tank limited in size to 250 gallons and used solely for outdoor grills or indoor gas fireplaces.
What is the number?
2K.
Thank you.
That addresses above ground. Below ground, you can
Correct.
still put the below.
you can
ground
still
in.
replace his propane tank underground and still be within, the only reason to not be able to do it would be access to the tank and cost. So I'm on board with everything that's been said.
well, let me ask you this, if he says, okay, I'm just gonna replace it, is there anything from the propane company or the county that prevents him from putting it where it is? Because
Underground.
of distance from the house?
I don't think so. I can just pull it out and put a new one in.
Okay,
And I'm not even sure that's an ACC thing. I think it's just repair and replace. I don't think we have anything in the ACC rules for propane tank
no,
replacement.
I'm just concerned if he decides to remove it and put a new one in, is the county or the
I'm sure
propane company gonna
there
say,
very well
Yeah.
could
you
be
gotta live to
more
the new
updated
standards?
Jefferson County rules.
That's my concern.
Is this a dire situation?
Yes.
So,
Is this a dire situation?
from a temperature standpoint.
So we can't get to next September, put it on the ballot to change it to.
Not for the specific, Mr. Chaplin's here, or Chaplain Mike, in the red jacket there. Because that tank currently does not operate correctly.
That's correct.
Right.
And what was an aesthetic thing in 1995, 96. That's why they put it, that Coleman and all that, put it underground because of the aesthetic. Now, it's gonna cost 4 times more. It cost $2,000 back then. Now, it's gonna cost $8,000 plus. Whereas the new above ground tank is $2,300.
How big is a 500-gallon tank? Is it like the size of this
The
table?
500-gallon tank, the breadth and the width and the girth is no bigger probably than a 1.5 to 2 feet than a 250. A 500-gallon tank is the tank that's sitting right here when you go down Plantation and you see it on the left.
Right on the left.
That's a 500-gallon.
It's like the size of that dark table right there, Doug.
One is in backyard of Peachtree Plantation.
So that's
Yeah,
the
just
argument.
right here.
So did this covenant come after the fact?
Yeah.
In 1995.
But if he was grandfathered in, his whole house runs off this propane tank and he's willing to hide the 500. I mean, technically you could say that he
Pardon
was
me?
grandfathered in.
I'm not grandfathered in. That is probably been grandfathered in, we can take care of it, but I'm not grandfathered in. So I can't get a vote.
Dave, I don't think Nick is with you on legal. Can you guys?
Yeah, that's
explain
what I
the
was thinking. I'll run it by
situation
Ted. We'll get on a
ask
phone
Ted.
call tomorrow.
I'm not, I'm like, it's not like we don't have 500-gallon tanks above ground here, but I think I would rather see the rule changed, but it's a covenant, so we can't just change the rule without the vote.
So
around it.
just so I know, there's an underground 500 gallon currently that's non-functional. Or
It's functioning.
just not properly. You want to put a 500,
You know, because of the years on it, you know.
so if you could find a 250 above ground, you would go that route? Is that enough? Okay,
That's a, I talked to Carol Gaines, I talked to Morgan, I talked to Barnard. The feral gas would set the tank. I gave the picture to the architectural committee when they first agreed to it. And do the aesthetics, and it's less than, I mean, it's the regulation away from the house, it's on my property. It's on a slope where you can't see it, but it would be decorated.
yeah, no, I get that, but just my question is, if we could find a 250, would that suffice for your house? Okay.
The gas companies will come out that often because the furnace itself, it takes too much gas.
Is the current tank leaking or not operating correctly?
It's not leaking in that, but because of its age, they're recommending that, you know, it could.
Well, for all intents and purposes, in order to get this covenant changed, you could operate it through this winter. If you had to, right?
Could get it operated through the winter.
So that might be our option, right? Is to, because our problem here is it's in the covenants and it's not in the rules. If it were in the rules, we could adjust the rules to the ACC, but it's in our covenants, which is a voted on thing. So we would have to, you know, if at all possible, we get you to use that tank for the rest of the year.
Well, the problem was that because of AmeriGas, you know, we rented the tank. It's so under that rental, no other company, if I can get gas for $1.90 or $2 a gallon, I would do that. But AmeriGas says, no, I've been paying for this tank for 25 years.
So are they,
Still don't own it, and they will not reduce the price.
will they come out and,
Over $300, I'm $3 a gallon or more.
will they remove it?
No, it's in the contract that I signed, and I'm responsible for all the removal and everything else.
Well, here's my concern would be that your point is well taken, but what if it don't pass at the election? Then we're back where we are in a coming up.
Well, it would be very difficult for us to vote variance against the covenant. That's my argument.
No, I know, I get that. Yeah, we'll get with our attorney and find out what we can do, but I will at a minimum say if you can get out from under them, contact me because I'm having the same problem at my office. And I've went with a different company that don't help you right now, but you got to get that tank out of there and get away from them.
So we'll call the attorney, Dave and I will call the attorney tomorrow, see what we can do from our covenant standpoint, explain to him the situation at hand. And that if being that it is the covenants, do we have a way to give you a variance on that? That would be our main concern. So that's our action item for tomorrow.
So I will table this motion for future review.
Thanks.
All right, next motion,
So
variance for 1,000 gallon.
okay, so Greg Scott, the Scott's retaining wall, they're building a driveway and they have a retaining wall that's going to be more than 48 inches. So it's requiring a board approval for it. It's going to be a total of 6 feet off the ground. I can send this around. So I'll make a motion to approve Greg Scott's retaining wall of 6 feet, which is above the 48-inch ACC approval.
Is that just to fit the driveway?
So this is to hold the driveway up, basically.
Side entry or something there? What is that? Oh, is this the one down on West Vista?
Mhm.
I'll second the motion, just so you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that definitely needs it.
Now, once you get to 6 feet, they'll also need a Jefferson County permit.
Okay, so we're preliminary, Jefferson County's second.
Yeah, I would say, you know, approve it, you know, pending a Jefferson. County
Well, I've talked to
permit.
Matt Hardy too. He's the one building that house, I believe, and they're going down that avenue right now, I believe.
You want me, should I adjust the motion to include the language about Jefferson County?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I'll adjust my motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve Greg Scott's retaining wall of 6 feet in total pending a Jefferson County permit approval. Can I please get a second?
Any discussion?
I think this is the second one that's needed approval, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Okay, so maybe there's something that we need to raise, fix the guidelines and allow maybe a little bit taller of one. Because in the guidelines, it says 48 inches.
I will say these two, one that I know of that's over there, like in the first or last cove, and this one are both large garages, side entries on a huge hill that there's no other way, shape, or form to do it.
My guess is that I believe Jefferson County code used to be 48 inches and they raised the height of it.
To 6 foot.
And
So,
I'm just speculating, but that would be my.
well, that's a good point. If Jeffco's 6, why not? There's no,
Completely.
be more restrictive.
Yeah, I'll take a little-
Why do we have to trump Jefferson County?
So I would say that's an agenda item for the next ACC meeting.
That would be tomorrow.
Any other discussion? All in favor of a 6-foot retaining wall to hold up a driveway at 9802 West Vista pending Jeffco permit, signify with an aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. John, I think this is you.
I just wanted to further some more discussion with the board around electronic communication. Certainly this, does not trump what's written in the bylaws or covenants. It has to be, but one of the things that, even the 599 email addresses we have on file, there's probably 400 that actually show in MailChimp that they looked at it. The last couple that I did, we had 240 people voted in the election this last year. Is there, anything further that we can do right now? There is only in the, I don't know if it's a bylaws or covenants, but we have to send out the bylaw covenant changes and sync with the annual election. But that's it. There's 2 other newsletters that we send out each year via paper, but everything else is already electronic. I think each one of those newsletters is about $2,000 in expense. Other than the one that has to be mailed each year. Should we continue this push of electronic, and how do we go about getting the people registered so that we can go
Either
forward?
renew your sticker, renew whatever it is
Absolutely.
annually, get that email.
Well, part of the problem that we have is that Raintree started selling lots in 1980, and we've probably got 1,000 property owners who are 75 years old or higher. And your mom or your grandma might use electronic, but a lot of them don't. A lot of them do not. They've gotten past the age where it all makes sense to them, and they just backed off of it.
If
The
they,
landlord even, they have no way of getting it anyways, because is it mailed to their house of where they live?
Oh, yeah.
If it's on file.
They don't, we don't.
but here's
mail
the
to a
question
lot.
is if they are that age, do they care about what we're doing?
Yes.
Well, they do, but it affects their money.
Part of it is, all right. More so than even the one printed newsletter has to go out. It's in the bylaws or covenants. The other 2 aren't. So you're getting everybody's getting some communication from us, but there's monthly emails that go out on things. There are the monthly Raintree roundups. If there's some emergency here that we have to get communicated to people, it's like there's no way to do it. So, and I think that the thing is that we got to figure out a way that we get the emails. And I don't know the logistics of this, but if the office has the email, but it's not registered through the website that we can email them, have they given us approval that we can use the email and load it into
I think we have more
We
than.
tried this one other time. We
We
can
might
do
go
a
to the office.
blast email and do an opt-out on it. That's not a problem. But my question real quick is, we only have been doing paper newsletters forever and electronic the last 3 years, right? The other two, and then we dropped down to one.
2 years or 1 year, Linda, do you remember?
I think early, fall of 2019, early 2020, when we started asking people permission, this is the way we want to communicate now. So 2 years. plus.
2 years,
So
about 2 years. for
what
the
is your actual
newsletters.
motion, John?
I didn't have a motion.
Oh, you
just
just wanted-
discussion. Just an item to discuss. Just an item to
I think
discuss.
that,
I just think
can
we
turn it
go
into a
with it
motion.
and we just keep promoting it. And I mean,
We put it in every newsletter, we put it even in, we ask them for it on most of our assessment invoices.
I mean,
Well, okay, I do have a motion.
okay,
I motion that every new property owner that registers in this office, the office will register their email to receive electronic communication.
Meaning that they're
That-
required to.
yes, so we can make that motion. We need to put it in the rules. And we need to have an opt-out form. And if they opt out, then if they don't get the notification, then it's not on us. So that's a perfect way to do it.
I'll
Is it-
second the motion.
Okay,
is that something we can do on annual renewals?
I say anytime somebody walks in the office, you hand it to them.
I mean, one thing we can do, I'm not gonna motion at this point, but the next annual newsletter that goes out, we're dropping one more.
Yeah.
When the annual ballot goes out, if we keep this up, we're dropping one more.
You know,
Because
and that may be something,
Because you're not really getting the communication of Raintree through the 3 paper newsletters a year. You're just, I mean, there's,
But if you're
9
a
other
lot owner,
months.
you don't so much care about all those. The key things you're supposed to get, you get in the paper newsletter.
the ballot items. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's the only thing we need it for.
Right.
That's the only one that's
Well,
required.
I think we're also required to tell them in writing about the upcoming openings and the board openings.
What is that reading?
There's all-
What is
there's
that
all-
language in the covenants? Do you know?
I
what
think it's
that
in
is?
the
bylaws.
Probably bylaws, yeah.
You got to do the announcement of the annual meeting and you have to,
Does it have to be in a written
specify-
communication in a letter to their
I don't
home
think
address?
the announcement of the meeting does because that's in the covenants. That's standing every
It's,
year.
it's all the
It's-
ballot items.
it's in there. The ballot items have to be listed and it depends, and it has to be mailed because it's.
I agree, the ballot item one,
the
that's a
different
big
level-
one. That's a big one.
Based upon what mail service level you use, tells how many days in advance it needs to be sent. So I did read through it. So there's only one thing that has to be mailed
Right.
by our.
I think
bylaws
the
and
ballot
covenants.
item's an important one. I think
But,
the annual
yeah,
meeting's an
right.
important one.
Yep.
That's all one.
That's
though.
one.
Mhm.
That's one,
newsletter,
that's the
yeah.
one that's required.
Yep.
Right, so what would
But-
we need the other ones for then?
No, that's what John's saying. He wants to do them all electronic.
Well, I
We gotta.
think he's saying he wants to eliminate the others and
You want to keep the one
mhm,
annual meeting and ballot items. That's our only remaining paper copy, which I agree with. And you're gonna take the other 2 that we currently have and make those electronic. Is that what you're asking? In due time, in due time. Yeah, right. I'm agree
I mean,
with that.
I think we have to see if this, ongoing campaign to get people registered is making a difference or not. If we
been
can't.
going on for
No,
years.
I know,
That's
if
why-
we can't, but I mean, I think though, if we draw the line in the sand to say, we are going electronic communication other than this one thing. Then if you don't sign up, you're not getting the communication, they're
We'll
not
run
getting
a,
most of it today
We'll
anyway,
run a fundraiser.
you know.
We'll do,
AT&T
is you have
can't
to
do
add,
it. They have
add your
to
email
do-
address and whoever gets picked randomly, we're picking one number at random, gets free assessments for that year. You'll have everyone involved. There'll be new Gmail accounts created.
Yep.
No, you would get everyone involved if you say you pay their country club.
Yeah. Courtesy of Nicholas Kramer.
Let me withdraw that last motion. The motion I want to make is every person that comes to this office, the office will work with them to get them registered. They got the computer right there, register them. If they don't want it, opt them out at that point in time.
Just get the form together or get with
Yeah.
Wendy and we'll get that and you hand them, everybody a form. Even the kid walking down the street looking for a soda pop, give him a form, let him opt out.
Yeah, let them opt out. That's another thing too, is
Yeah.
that.
Let them opt out.
And please print Nancy a paper copy for God's sake.
I'll second that motion.
Any other discussion?
We just gotta make sure that the office has the idea of why it's so important, right? So when they, instead of just asking bluntly, I need your email address, like, we're just gonna send them spam, like, we don't have capabilities of selling your information. It's all about how we get to you better and serve you better.
I will say that in the bylaws, with the wording that is used, technically our annual meeting does not have to be mailed. Because it says, notice is fair and reasonable for each property owners, notifies its members of the place, date and time of each annual and special meeting of members no fewer than 10, or if notice is mailed by other than first class or registered mail 30 or more than 60 days before the meeting date. And then it goes on to include the description of what's supposed to be in it.
I interpreted that as if it's other than first class mail, you have to provide more time.
Well, email would
Other
be
than
other,
first class or registered.
Yeah, if you're not
like you
sending,
already.
if you're not sending it that
She's the
way,
ACC's in the hole.
then you have to do it longer in advance.
Right.
So email would be other, right? Or electronic would be other.
It could be, and we can give people to have the option of wanting to be mailed
I
too
think
as
it'll
well.
be- I think it'll be, probably Ted's gonna have to interpret that.
Well, I agree, but it sounds like you're on the right page here.
I mean, when I read it, I
Whatever page that
interpreted
happens to be.
it. Send it by email.
3.
You needed 7 days. No, I sent it other than 30. And there was a 10-day one and a 30-day one. Maybe there's not a 10-day one, but 30 days in advance.
Maybe it says
Yeah, that'd be
something,
for the special meeting.
maybe it says something contradictory in the bylaws compared to the covenants.
Could be. We'll be-
First time.
So it's
Okay,
something.
so I forget the motion. What is it?
I have here, every new property owner is
Oh,
required. For every new property owner, the office is required to work with them to get them registered for email or have them opt out then and there.
John with the word he wants.
You okay with that?
The second one, I changed that to everybody that comes to here for service.
Well, it's gotta be a property owner, so yeah, I would say every property owner.
Property owner.
All right,
That's good.
Wendy's got a great memory. She'll remember who she gave it out to.
Is she shooting laser beams at me from back there?
Specifically him, but you're probably right.
Oh, yeah.
Guy called me on the phone the other day and says, man, I got a great memory. I just am terrible at recall. All in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
All opposed? The electronic communication motion has passed. Electronic collections.
Actually, I don't think that was electronic. That's a misprint.
What should it say?
Attorney collection.
Regular.
Oh, attorney collections, that's why I had no idea.
Do I have to make a motion before I state why I want to make the
You
motion?
should.
Okay. I make a motion that we formally move the assessment collections from a third-party collection agency to a collections attorney.
I will second that. Any discussion?
If I could, what that means is that, to give you an example, Deb gave us the budgets. We are $104,000 in under the budget for what we've got in assessments paid versus what the budget said should have been paid. On it, that's a ton of money. We already did some analysis. Lori did it that showed that historically we collect 23% of the revenues. So, you know, there's 6 figures sitting on the table in uncollected revenues from the assessments. And the collection agency has really no authority to do anything other than we can tell them, report it to credit service, put a lien on the property. If people are willing to give their property away to the county for non-payment of taxes, they're not gonna pay attention to a lien, they don't care. A collections attorney, they will be getting, after the second notice, they will get a notice from the attorney. If they don't pay, they take them to court to have a court order to have it paid.
I have a quick question. Who seconded this?
I did.
Okay,
So for all intents and purposes, there would be no way to give it back to the county at that point, right? So it
6 years.
would take them 6 years.
I mean, they still could give it back to the county, but
They'd
you
pay
know,
our
they-
dues, but
but-
wouldn't pay their taxes.
they would pay their assessment here because the court would, unless they are destitute or deceased. You know, then you probably file the lien in case they do happen to sell whatever the property is, but other than that, you know, they will be taken to court and at least the one attorney that I spoke with said, you know what, we don't lose because it's all documented in the covenants that you have the right to the assessment and on it, but you know, I think that fixes some
There's your
financial.
$6,000 tree repair.
Yes, I mean, it fixes some financial challenges that we face to get things done that, you know, we don't easily have the money for and, you know, I mean,
What's the cost to us
Yeah,
on
and
this?
what's the attorney cost?
Rolled over.
we would
Is
need.
that it?
It's in our covenants that we can collect attorney's
Right, I
fees.
mean, we
admin
would, we
fees.
would need to probably front, you know, maybe $100 per property owner, but it gets collected back because the covenants.
How
state
many
about it.
properties are outstanding?
104,000, but the key
Okay.
is not to go after people that have been sitting on 4 or 5 years that
Right.
we haven't collected on, that the current place hasn't collected. We want to stay current every year, go after these people because trying to collect money from people that haven't paid for 3 or 4 years and a bunch of idle threats just goes nowhere.
Well, I think too, that if we did flip this to let everybody know, you know, this would be a good item for the next printed one, since we can't get to other ways that, you know what? It's not a collection agency anymore. It's an attorney. You don't pay it, you will find yourself in court.
Yeah, my question is, if we have 100, go ahead, Deb.
the second notices, this is in the minutes from last month, second notices of delinquent assessments were sent to over 560
So
properties.
560 times 100, that's $56,000 that we'd have to front up.
That's why I'm saying we wouldn't do it all at
You don't have
once.
to do all.
Oh, you don't have to do it all at
of
once. Okay, okay.
And what's the cost versus the collection agency? What is the collection?
30%.
27%
They
of it.
don't collect anything until we collect, is that correct?
We pay that regardless.
Right.
So if we collect, if
And
it's $100 and they collect it, we get 73 bucks.
I do not have this settled as to who will do it, but there are, I believe, collections attorneys that potentially will not charge us anything up front. So, you know.
See, that's what I was
we'll have to look at it,
asking,
but,
one versus the other, how much money are we putting down?
Well, but even with all the years of the collection agency, we had a 23% delinquency rate that we're,
It's not
you know,
working.
we're chasing. So
Why would someone do an agency versus an attorney? Like, why would we have made that move originally?
Well, it could be
I didn't charge
because we're
anything up
talking
front,
about $200 overdues.
right? So it's easier to just lump them all together.
And Dave, one attorney I did talk to, he said, you know what? Go after the ones that owe you the most money. Because that's where you're gonna get the bang for your buck. And then if the people that didn't pay you this year don't pay you next year, then you go after them.
I don't know if they had a collection agency that for that many years. There was a relationship there that somehow
Well,
started.
and the hope is that if you don't pay this, you're getting taken to court.
And that resounds to the community, right?
They'll pay it.
Yeah, they'll pay it for sure. They're not paying it purely because they
Yep.
can.
Right. And one process change we would have in this is if, it, you know, once it goes to the attorney, we cannot collect it anymore. It has to go through the attorney.
And it goes that way with the collection agency too. Right? That's
Right.
what
Yep.
we,
I'm good with it.
so can I read this and make sure I got your right message? One, move collections from third-party collections firm to a collections attorney after the second notice to the property owner at the cost of the property owner. That, probably that last part doesn't need to be there because it's in the covenants.
All in favor, signify with an eye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes.
Any-
Oh,
Did anybody abstain?
no, nobody did, but there's nobody
Okay.
online and
I couldn't tell the key voted. I
Oh.
wanted to make sure I got it right.
all right, next, new business, community events process. Who is,
That was me and Nick as well. You know, as we ran across the couple community events, there were a lot of questions that came up, you know, either from the community or the board. So we are going to work on a new process that if somebody wants to have something that will be tagged as a community event, even if it, and this would probably be more for an independently run community event like the beach volleyball, like Witches Night Out, that there will be an information form that will be filled out, given to events. And then we will, you know, make sure that their questions get answered. If there's anything that needs to be asked of the board, you know, to support the independently run community event, that we will be ahead of it, hopefully, instead of chasing it, you know, after the fact. Hopefully we'll get all the questions answered. So Nick and I will be creating a, you know, questionnaire type form. So if anybody's looking to, you know, have a independent, you know, community event.
Yeah, and the idea isn't to be intrusive or, you know, step in and make sure that something that we don't want is happening. The idea is to basically take your idea of your community event, copy and paste it through the board and see if we have any issues that you may not be seeing, any liabilities, any community impact, anything that might happen you may not have thought of. We're a yes first, hey, have you thought about this versus a no. So we want everything to come through us to try to help you make sure that it's going the right way. There's no liabilities, nothing's gonna come crazy. Hey, did you think about this? And like, think about it together, brainstorm, and then be able to deliver a great product.
I'm assuming there'd be some basic guidelines.
Yeah, right. That's
That'll
part of
help
what
the
we'll work on.
office.
Yep.
It'll help the
That's
office
what we'll
too.
work through, so that way, you know, it's the office knows, the board knows, they're, you know, like the two motions that came up with Witches Night Out that we were chasing a week before the event, that, you know, we, just like you said, things that they may not know of or think of, that we can make sure are handled and covered for them, so their event goes well. You know, it's not to get in the way, it's not to say no, it's, you know, I mean, you know, I think that we were, you know, very accommodating to both the events. I think everybody learned some things, you know, and
go to Michigan.
Well, everybody had a great time. And so you would think that we would want to encourage more of it. We
Yep.
just have to have a little bit of structure so we know what we're doing.
Is this also for private events and public ones, like people, like the fish fry that happened a couple weekends ago?
I would
You want them
say-
To do it for that?
Anytime you're using the
Right,
POA
but it was-
property
The
outside,
POA
of-
property that
Yeah, but it
was-
was the sites were
Right.
rented by an individual.
So we're saying that if we have an event, then they won't have to pay for the.
not
no,
necessarily, but, you know, I think it's more so to describe the event, it would be, you know, we've had the,
I use Witches Night Out as an
we-
example. There was
we
a
had
lot
the-
of different facets of it. So there were vendors, there were raffles, it was a larger scale event versus, and there might be a size, a limit, right? So anything 35, 40 plus. So it goes into a different bracket where it's kind of more of a large scale planned event that has a bunch of different aspects that, you know, a fish fry with 20 of your
And that was,
closest
and
friends.
that, the fish fry was, you
That
know,
was just-
just,
Yeah.
right, but it was only invited, you know, I mean.
Well, I wasn't sure if we were talking about
Oh,
just
right,
in
yeah.
general on POA property.
it'd be a large scale event. I mean, we've had the night golf cart ride, we had the,
cruising rain tree.
the cruise and rain tree. So, you know, even though they're independently planned events, the POA is not doing it, but if it's a community-wide event and put out there as a community-wide event, the fish fry wasn't a community.
Right, that's a good
event.
point,
That would
yeah.
say, you know.
So this
you
is
know,
for something that's like open to everybody, like the
Community, yeah.
volleyball thing.
Right.
Where they've got the food truck coming in and
community-wide.
everything.
Yep.
Okay.
That way, you know, because I mean, like, you know, with Witches Night Out. You know, we made the approval this time that they didn't have to charge the vendor fee. You know, maybe next time that's not gonna be the case. You know, so I think that we just need to know what they're looking at, but I would think at the onset, they had no clue they were gonna get. I heard the number 38 vendors. I mean, this thing just was absolutely phenomenal for the community, and, you know, we just want to make sure their events go well. The board's questions are answered, and, you know, we don't run into any stumbling blocks that may cause
Yeah,
issues and that as
unintentional.
unintentional issues. It's not, you know, to look to control it. I mean, I think with Witches Night Out, we tried to do everything possible we could to, you know, make sure that their event ran.
Just out of curiosity, did we know we had dead trees before we waived all those fees?
No, that came after, but
Right.
I'm not sure the fees would pay for the trees.
Well, I don't know, at 38 at $50 a pop, or part
you
of
may
it.
not have had that many vendors, but I'm sure you wouldn't.
Got a lot more crickets.
All right.
So in case anybody out there planning an event, then, look for the new form, because you'll have to complete that so we can touch base with you before you can do a community-wide event.
Thank you, John. Braintree Smile.
Okay, I'm gonna try to be quick with this. John put this in the Braintree Roundup last month, but we were thinking that with a lot of the initiatives that this board has been talking about, we wanted to come up with an acronym that would kind of set the tone for this year and give people a sense of what we're trying to do. And what we came up with was Raintree Smile. And that acronym is for simplify, remove out-of-date or inefficient processes, modernize, use technology to increase convenience, innovate, implement updated procedures, listen, obtain community input through open forums and virtual surveys, and evolve, plan, execute, review, improve. So this is going to be kind of our motto, and oh, that's, yeah.
Betsy, your face is
I
the new
hold it
motto.
just right. But anyway, so you'll be seeing it a lot more in a lot more of our newsletters and so forth. Just trying to set a very positive tone for what we're trying to do over the next years. Thank you.
Thanks, Deb. Thanks, John. Thanks for all the updates and suggestions and smile. Vehicle stickers.
No, Dave, I'd say let's
Table
postpone
that.
that one, because we've got, you know, the Brian's information for us all to, you know, look through, and
Got
we'll
it.
just put that one on
All right.
next month.
Beach parking, is that Tim?
No, that
That's
would
you.
be- I can do that. So all of you have seen the email, the draft of the change to beach parking. And one of the time sensitive things around this is,
Can you talk just a tribal louder, please?
sure.
Some of us are over 75.
Not getting an email, I'll tell you that.
Well, I guess it had- Okay, I motion that we change the vehicle identification for parking in the beach lots to a hang tag versus a car sticker. Let me read the whole thing, Dave. or-
Is there
or
a
just
second?
have it in?
Yeah. All right, what, any discussion? Now you
Yeah.
can go into detail.
So we spend as property owners and the office an inordinate amount of time for getting vehicle stickers on cars. There are about 2,400 property owners here, and, you know, we sell about 1,500 stickers. think of people that got 2, 3, 4 vehicles, you know, multiple cars, you know, we're not touching very many people. The vehicle sticker really, while it can do other things, the only thing the vehicle sticker does is it allows you to park in the lower level beach parking where there are 13 parking spots, 1, 3. So when we look at the amount of time and effort property owners in the office spend on these vehicle stickers and the problems it causes over the summer, everything that we get inundated with is invalid parking at the beach. They're in the wrong lot. They don't have the right sticker. The sticker's not put on the window. They got a guest pass and they're in the wrong place. We, you know, just a litany of things that we continue to go through. They dominate the censures in the summer months. Without the pavilion, and the pavilion cannot technically be counted on as overflow beach parking, because if the pavilion's rented, all the pavilion parking goes to the renter. The boat ramp lot is, some people may park there and walk all the way back across the dam, but the boat ramp is for trucks and trailers that have launched their boat. Between the hill and the beach, there are 31 parking spots. Not enough to accommodate everybody in Raintree. So part of this, as Deb mentioned in Raintree Smile, is for us to look to simplify things. Is we come up with one way to identify valid beach parking. And you park with this wherever it's at. It would take care of your guest passes. It would be your own vehicles. And you can park in any of the lots with this. From that, we talked about redoing the hang tag each year. So it'd be a different color hang tag that you'd get.
Did you settle on a
would
number
not-
of hang tags?
Pardon me?
Did you settle on a number of hang tags you would get?
You know, the conversation's been somewhere between 4 and 6.
4 is good for here especially. Because if you got 4, you can alternate your hang tags throughout everybody. You really shouldn't have more than 2 max vehicles at the beach anyway.
Well, some people, and I'm speaking for Tim, because Tim has big family parties at the beach. So I'm just representing, he'd probably want more.
He usually, from what I remember,
We
him saying,
really-
he usually carpools too. He has
We
people park at
do
his house.
carpool, yes, but he's, you know, I mean, I've got family members who have guest tags too that come down and park at the beach, so.
So it is 4.
I would,
Just
I would go 6.
When you say guest tags, they park at the beach. I didn't think we allowed that.
Well, they
They
park
up the hill,
Oh,
up the hill. But this would simplify it.
The hard part is the 31 totals. There's 31 and 13, right? So it's
31 total.
31
19
total
on the
spots.
hill, 13.
So
in
if
total.
you, for all intents and purposes, have a party and you're saying, okay, listen, we're all gonna go to the lake at 10 o'clock. You have 6 hang tags. That's 6 cars. That could be 1 person per car. Could, you know, and you'd still be 4 people per car, but you know, that's, I mean, you're sucking up 1/5 of the parking by just that one party.
I think you start with 4. If we need to fix it, we fix it.
Yeah,
Hey, why should I do a sticker for my car?
you won't have to. You won't have to.
You don't have to, but hold
Not unless
hold
you
on
want
to
in
your
the
questions, please. Hold your questions.
not unless you want in the gate.
God, yeah.
So let me add the other things to it is that we have to determine the price for it. Current car stickers, $2. There've been conversations that is not enough for the effort that goes in, and considering the price of everything else. Golf cart sticker, you can park at the beach, $20, 25 if you don't buy it on time. You know, boat stickers, $100. You know, that if we're gonna do this, that there has to be a different item on it. We need to be clear with this, that is the only authorized beach parking pass. Car stickers, guest passes will dissipate. They will not have them anymore. You can park in any of the lot. You cannot park in the pavilion lot if the pavilion rented sign is up. You get them from the POA office. We're talking about for this coming year, doing it as of April 1st. And then it will be renewed annually with the assessment period. So everything happens at one time. This was another piece we had to talk about in it is if you lose one of your tags, that the price is expensive to replace it during the year. Because otherwise, if we say you can get 4 and somebody wants 8, oh, I lost my passes on it. So it will not be, there's some, I think, Nick, you might have said that you pay your annual assessment again if you want new passes. So that way, if you're not going to tell the truth, and we stop the people that may do it under the guise of it's lost to get extras, they will pay for it if they want to go that route. You'd have to treat these like gold for the year. You get new ones the next year. Desiree, you brought up one thing we could do is if you turn in the pass. If you turn in the pass when you get the new ones next year, then we'd cut the price of it in half. So
We
that way
talked about
we
making
can,
them $20 a piece and then taking $5 off for each one that they return, just to keep up with people aren't being able to keep them, to re-alternate them. And the people that aren't paying their assessments.
the other thing this fixes too is today, the hang tags are only in the paper files. If you get a violation with hang tag, you cannot find who it is without looking through every file in there. If we replace the car stickers with the hang tag, we can record the hang tags in the system so they're searchable in case there happens to be an issue.
Yeah, that was another thing we talked about was having each house or lot being a specific number and that following them through with their boat stickers, their golf cart stickers and things like that, just to keep it to where it's the same across the board. Otherwise, they're having to keep track of different numbers for different.
Well, we'd end up having to order the same number of golf cart stickers as we have car stickers then. That would definitely.
You could use a
increase.
label maker or something to mark them once you have it. And just individually, or you would have like a stamp or something.
Mhm. Now, did you say,
Yeah, we'd have to look at keeping, I like the idea of keeping the numbers the same across everything for one
Yes.
property owner. That way it's cut and dried. But we'd have to look into that a little bit further with this.
You might be able to find a printer that we could get that prints them as at will.
Yeah, the other thing that, Deb, do you have that one sheet about who's allowed access to here?
our security policy?
Yep.
I do.
So for any of you that have had an issue that you can't get a vehicle sticker because of all of this, it will go away. If you purchase the hang tag for beach parking, you can park there. If you want to give it to your friend, if you want to give it to your daughter, son, grandson,
Well,
you give them the hang tag.
so
However, you got to make sure you get the hang tag back from them because if they take off with your hang tag,
They should be with them.
aren't
you
you
should be
saying,
with them as well, but you can't
Yeah.
replace the hang tag if they take off and lose your
Well,
hang tag.
I'm just gonna say, a lot of this has to do with who can be at the beach without the property owner. And that doesn't get
So if
solved.
we do those hang tags, how, do they mean they got automatic access to the beach?
It's parking.
It's
So
just for parking
parking.
there, not getting in the gate.
Your guests are not allowed at the beach without the property owner. And unless we change the rule,
Yeah,
And
and
it-
so a
and
lot
it-
of this is categories of guests, like, are you living together unmarried? Are
yeah,
you
well,
adult?
my comment
Yeah.
was it will solve. I can't get a sticker to park this car at the beach. It solves it. You give them the hang tag. It doesn't solve the policy that, the property owner needs to be with the guest using the amenity. But, this will at least simplify all of the people that have struggled that they can't for registration purposes, address purposes, can't get access to park at the beach.
And to be fair, we have hang tags currently. Our guest passes provided to each property owner have
So
two hang tags. So realistically speaking, if you wanted to violate, they could call your phone from the gate. You would give them access by pressing 9. They would park in the same manner currently. So I don't foresee it being a major issue going forward, because if it was an issue, we'd already kind of see it. And there's no way to prove that they're not with the property owner to begin with, but
and hopefully this will solve I parked in the wrong place and I got my car booted, or I got towed, or I got fined. It simplifies what we do there.
yeah.
That's
I-
really what it's.
My main fear is that we adjust something that floods the beach. Maybe there's something we're missing, but I don't think it would be in this. My fear would just be that somehow we give 6, say we use 6 passes, and then all of a sudden the first week, 4 people come down with their 6 passes, and then no one parks down there, or no one can park down there. Just trying to see it from every angle, but I think this is the best way.
We're kind of dealing with it today. I mean, you get registered 2 cars, you get 2 hang tags, you get 3 guest passes. You went down there with
Right.
eight vehicles. I mean, this doesn't
Doesn't change. any of that, yeah.
change that part of it. So the one thing we have to finish up the motion is how many? How many can somebody get? Start with 4, we can change it if
Right,
we
you
see
can
it's a
always
problem.
modify
And
it.
if their loss is 365, you get 4 more.
Okay,
Cost minimum.
one thing I didn't understand is there a cost for these hang tags initially?
$20
Is
today.
that
here.
$20
That was just
times
something I
4?
came up with as
This-
a thought
that's-
process.
I didn't see it.
Initially, it was 10. Is what we put
$10. So
in the
every
email.
property owner would pay $40 every
Only
year.
if you buy the beach part.
So if you never go to the beach, this me, say, I don't go to the beach, so I don't need hang tags. I don't need to buy them, but I won't ever
But
have
isn't
any.
that for any, I mean, I realize that the majority of it is the beach, but aren't those stickers and everything for any POA? You
The
know?
car stickers are, but that's not what we're talking about here, is it?
Our stickers go away though.
Mhm.
There's not really a
Cars-
need,
I
no.
mean, the car sticker only comes
don't-
into play with your, if you're down at the boat ramp, you should have your sticker on your trailer and you have your hang tag in your car and truck, and you have your trailer sticker, so the car sticker goes away, because the only thing the car sticker was really providing is you could park in one of the 13 lower level beach spots. And it was all pretty much, first come, first serve anyway, with only 13 of them.
And we only collected what, 40% of the cars that are registered out here?
No,
It was
Probably not.
collected $3,002.
$3,002. So with 1,500 cars registered, 4 of them were mine.
well,
Yeah, it's a waste. Waste of energy, waste of time,
So
waste of
what's
sticker
the-
cost.
What's the price?
25 for all 4 of them.
25 for 4?
Justifies it. In my mind, I don't know, it's a round number. I don't want to feel like we're gouging going from $2 to $100.
All right, $10 initial price, and then if they turn them back in, cut it down half, 5. If you return all of yours.
So $10 a piece. I like that better. Just what if they only want to?
No, you can choose them.
Yep, and then they
That's
only gotta pay
20
10 the
bucks.
next year if they turn the same 2 in.
I like that.
Is that gonna cost more admin time by them coming getting the onesie twosies versus having to be responsible for all 4 of them at the same time? So if we give them all 4 at the same time, there's no reason for them to come back. If we sell them 2, they lose 2, they have to come back up. That's another 10 minutes of admin
I
time.
don't disagree with you, Nick, but I would rather see them get what they want versus just giving them willy-nilly, because then they're liable to just give them to whoever. They don't need them.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that if we give them $5 back, if they bring it back, that's not less than what the cost of the hang tag is. I don't know what they're,
Does that not just overcomplicate it though?
Wendy, do you know what the cost of these things are?
You guys all have the cost.
Yeah.
What is the cost in it?
May I interrupt for a minute?
Hang on till the open forum, please.
That one time, there was a deal
Hang on to the open forum,
where you
please.
didn't vote.
Linda, please hang on to the open forum. Okay, let's just continue. All right. Nick, what did you say for the lost?
I came up with just 365 for all four, but that. My idea would be to just lump sum. So if you were to lose all four, you would get all four back, but it would cost you the price of a lot, but. It's just spitballing, yeah.
I think we just needed something to deter people from saying I lost it to get more than the number that we are providing.
Yeah, I mean, and the flip side of that is people are legitimately gonna lose them, right? I mean, things do happen. You have teenage kids that lose them, whatever the case may be. I mean, you probably wanna have,
Lost the codes to all their friends.
yeah, well, if they had the code, they wouldn't break the gate. But yeah, I mean, there is a, you can't cast a broad net too hard, though,
So are we still talking about selling these for April? So the point that we couldn't hear because it's not time for it to be heard yet, though, was that we wouldn't, if we were doing something significant, we would discuss it the first meeting and vote it on the second meeting. So property owners had a chance to give us input.
I agree. I agree.
I don't disagree, but I mean, we've been discussing this for 3 months.
No, it's just internal.
The hang up,
Your smile things.
the hang up that you're gonna run into is if we don't go forward with this, she's
Then we
gotta
gotta
order the
sell,
window.
right.
stickers.
You know where you live, John.
When do we order the window sticker?
You guys will have your opportunity, please. We have not done anything. There is a order to this meeting. The open forum is not now for you to ask your
The
questions.
window stickers,
Aren't due till
window
July.
stickers need to be ordered ASAP if we're gonna hand them out. If we
No.
don't, we,
I'm sorry, but the car window stickers come in July. They don't get ordered for January.
I thought-
January is golf carts and
I
boats.
thought you ordered the stickers.
I usually order them all now.
right.
I ordered the boat and the jet ski already.
How much
Is it-
are the window stickers just total? You know off the top of your
I
head?
don't know.
Okay, no problem.
I think we
Less than
spent-
$2, I
I
hope.
think we spent on all the stickers across, I think it was like $4,500 last year.
It's
What's our drop dead date when we gotta have this done?
Well, here's the
course.
problem. There are people that will come up and pay their assessments early to get their stickers.
Right.
So that's why she probably orders them in November.
right.
One of the things we've been talking about though was making golf carts and boats due April 1st. And so we're pushing the timeline for all of that back. So that should give us more time to get them in.
And there shouldn't be a lead time on something like this. It would just be to the dismay of early purchasers. So it's not like we can't get the material. Once we have an answer, we have material here the same week.
If somebody wants to
mean, we
prepay,
can-
they can.
We can not vote on it till next month.
I think that's the best idea.
I will table this motion to hear from the people in the community and get it out on a notification of some sort.
Yep.
But, it's so everyone knows the driving factor is the amount of time it takes the office staff to go through this kind of stuff and
Even our time, I mean, how many
Yeah.
conversations we've had about beach park?
I agree, it has to be done.
Really don't.
It's really bad, yeah.
And it dominates the summer with,
Mhm.
the parking.
And
stuff
security
nonstop.
and
Yep.
unintentional people caught in the net because their lot owners never came and got their sticker because they're always coming here on the weekends. Ugh.
or they want them to leave them outside and
Yeah.
they're not
But it
there.
might be that there's a better.
It could be.
Hey, folks, please. All right, we'll move on to the next one. So guest gate security. So far, your information, just so you all know, Amazon has approached us with an access control device to allow Amazon drivers in, and we are coordinating that with our current security system at each gate. They will install a device and connect it to our access control board. It's about the size of a pack of cigarettes. They will have a card or a code on their phone, which is in an app, that they have to be within, what was it, 30 feet? 30 feet and a scheduled delivery appointment to get in the gate. we met with them on Wednesday. Dan Ozelinski was here. He was up to speed on everything and had good questions for him. It's for their Amazon drivers and what they call flex drivers, which could be any of us. Not in an Amazon vehicle, not in an Amazon uniform. It could be anybody and their brother. What that allows us to do is there were two ways to connect it, either to the gate operator itself or the access control system, which may be something we need to consider with if we decide to go with new access control. By putting it on the gate, we have no idea who and when and where and why they came in here because it's just an open or a close. By putting it into the board, we at least know that an Amazon driver entered. I don't know how much more detail we will know. Dan was digging into that a little bit, but they seemed,
We would know the time.
Right,
They-
time.
It sounded like it would be a timestamp and it would just say.
time and a gate.
Amazon.
Right, and they do seem very receptive that from the management perspective of this company that met with us, that if there's anything that goes sideways, they are on top of it within minutes. They also, this was a very expensive process to develop across the world, I guess. And I brought up the question that we only have a couple ports on our board that we could accept vendors with like UPS and FedEx and Uber Eats and DoorDash and the post office. They have created a document that a vendor can opt in to this system. Now, I don't know if there's a cost. I would assume there's a cost, but that they, as FedEx or UPS or Uber Eats or whoever, can opt in, and then that access would then say FedEx via Amazon. So we would still have a log trail of that. I would assume as things get more sophisticated, there might be a way to get an address or somehow, but they're gonna be planning on that.
But I think, I mean, they're also providing us with a phone number and an email address that if we have a problem with any driver, they can look at, because they control everything on their side by GPS and what driver went where. So we should be able to work through them if something happens that we need. That even though our system only shows that it was Amazon, that they're going to be able to fill in the blanks.
So the reason behind, first off, let me make the motion to approve. I make a motion to approve the Amazon installation into our gate access control system. Is there a second? Okay, for future discussion, the reason this is being driven is because they are leaving boxes on gates, boxes at entrances, boxes at the office for the office ladies to handle. And it's just not a good system. And, you know, probably everybody's going to start going to this type of delivery, but we had to come up with something. Being able to wrap this into our security seemed like the best scenario. There's huge companies involved in this, and there's a lot of money, and there's absolutely no cost to us. So they're going to install it, provide all the equipment. If something goes down, I think they said a 24 to 48 hour response. So they seem like they're on top of it. So.
And that's not our gate that would be down, it's their access.
Right, we still as guests with our property owners would be able to get in, it's just the drivers would not be able to get in.
And if I understood correctly, it's a one-time thing. Once they go through the
Right.
gate, as long as they're in the subdivision, they can move around. But once they leave go through the gate again, unless they ask for extra access.
Well, unless they
can't.
have additional packages.
Right, which they would have to call their company to get a second access into the subdivision, if I understood it correctly.
Yeah, I did mention to them that if the closest point to get from one house to
Right.
another was exiting a gate, they would have to get a special access. But I think if they got 10 deliveries, they get one code to get in each at one time.
For each delivery.
Right. And honestly, I think, you know, coming from Amazon, I can't expect it to be some hodgepodge thing. The tech told us that it's so expensive, nobody else is going to develop this, but
The cool thing is too, we can have UPS and FedEx also use it if they end up going to the personal couriers.
Right.
If they start using it, then the software's already on the gate. They can just buy access to it and then be able to use that card reader. And it's just an extension of our card, just behind their code is all.
Did we determine, is that actually Amazon doing this, or is this?
Amazon developed the software and the hardware, who knows, I mean, it's via Amazon, but I sent you guys the name of the company that actually is
Amazon Key for Business.
Key for Business. And I've been working with them, and I mean, they're eager to get going on it, because I think there's, I don't know, Wendy, you can attest to how many boxes and packages have been left at the office and nobody knows what the heck's going on with them, so. Any questions, other questions, discussion? All in favor of approving the Amazon Gate
One
X?
thing, is there a contract we gotta sign?
Not a contract, just, we have to sign a work order. Which she's aware that we had a meeting tonight to vote on this, so. And the guy did call me today about a work order, and I said, well, when do you expect it? And he goes, we don't have an install date yet until we get the work order signed, so. Okay, all in favor of the Amazon access through our gate controllers signify with an aye. All opposed, motion passes. One last thing.
Yes, one last thing I didn't get to finish from earlier from rules. As far as the CRC coming back, I've talked with a few of the different board members, and I mean, we really weren't sure how to go about it, but what we are proposing is that they come to us with a plan of action, what you want to do, how you plan on doing it. If you want to have events, sorry, John, but it's going to go to John. If you're not planning on having like a bunch of events, then you can just give it to me and then I can go over it and present it to the board. But more or less, that's what's going to come down to, is seeing a plan of action, what exactly you plan on doing. So that way there's no confusion, there's no mishaps between the board and the CRC coming back. And I think that's about it.
I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second? All in favor?
All right.
All opposed? Motion adjourned at 9:42. All right, see you next month, folks. John, how can I help you, sir?
Yeah, but I just want to say, it's really nice to see all the new faces here and everything, and all the shiny new name tags and everything. But you know, Dave, that name tag is looking about as old as you.
Hang on a minute. I actually have a second one. Maybe it's newer. Give me that dollar.
We've had him for 3 years and I think we're happy with him. It's just that he had a 3-year contract and it's done. And so based on our purchasing agreement for any kind of contract, we have to go out for bid.
You have recommendations? I said, do you have recommendations? Yeah, forward them to us. Yeah.
There was talk about the profit and loss being on the website.
Yes,
Is that, as long as that be public?
yes.
Is the pavilion covered under insurance?
Yes.
Why are we worried if a tree falls on it?
Because we have a deductible.
Well, because the deductible, we don't want to have to file a claim.
Okay.
All right. Kathy, I'm gonna work around the room, Linda.
Mark, it's Sarah. You know, I understand your concerns about life insurance, but if it's just, I mean, it's been there for a long time, and you have owners handicap owners that have been using the amenities there for a long time. So block off in order to avoid only incidents that you've only had 2 of so far, that you can actually censure. And then you're gonna turn around and block off handicapped homeowners' use of the amenities. I would really ask you to reconsider blocking off access of handicapped homeowners having access to that, using their pulling in their vehicles into that. Because you've got handicapped homeowners that pull in there to go fishing, to use the amenities in there. And
I'll take it into consideration and see what we can do. The biggest issue is that, well, I mean, it's only been there for what, a month? And we've had 2 violations, one with a truck and a boat trailer, and I understand your concern.
now I understand, now, see, I question you saying that it's only been there a month. Yes, the picnic table's only been there a month, but the park has been there since the beginning of Braintree.
Right, but I think we just started advertising that it was available for people to,
But it has been available, and whether you advertise it or not, there's people that have been using it. And, people have used it, so just because of other people violating it, I mean.
There's some rules about parking vehicles on POA.
yeah, it violates the property.
People violating rules on the lake, but that's.
I think there's something in our rules that states you can't park vehicles on POA property that's not a design property.
No, the rules say that you can't park on
It does, we've been through this with discussion about the ballot item. There is that you cannot park vehicles on POA property other than the beach parking lots, boat ramp, the areas that have been designated for parking.
because I just looked through the rules and I didn't see that.
It's not in the rules, it's in the covenants, I think it's 2J covers the parking.
The biggest issue, Kathy, is if we start allowing cars to park down there, one car handicap, no big deal. But then all of a sudden we got 4 or 5 cars and then they're parking in the street. And we got a homeowner right across the street. But I will tell you, we'll look into it and see what we can do. I have sympathy for your question, so I will, it might be a longer conversation with Ted tomorrow than we think, but I will definitely get back to you on that.
I'm confused about the burning hours.
Yeah, we gotta fix that.
That's confusing, because can you go back to that?
No. I'm kidding. Nick and I were, I heard that, and Nick heard the same thing, and
Yeah, we're gonna go through that. We're gonna go figure out why that's in there, and it may be just a burning from a brush standpoint, but doesn't include, campfires and things like that. So we're gonna look through it.
Yeah.
No, the definitely needs to be updated.
Yeah.
That was something I had a question about when I
Yeah.
first moved in.
Yeah, no, that's,
We have a bonfire pit.
Burning hours are from 8 to
I
5.
believe the burning hours. are
5 a.m.
To, like burning, like leaves, burning other stuff like that, not
I'm
necessarily.
sorry, say that again, we're talking.
I think it's in reference to, in the way it's worded in the rules is that it's in reference to burning leaves and, like brush, stuff like that.
I have a fire pit, why can't I?
that's not the
That's
intent of
what-
that rule. And I haven't read the language, but if it is the intent and that's what the rule states, we're gonna change it. That's not what we're trying to get across. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, we saw the same thing.
The newsletter, can you opt out of paper?
that would be a
I
good
know
point.
that the HOA does it that way. We're dealing with a much bigger, if it would.
Can we
be
send them an
done
email and ask
certain-
them?
You want to opt out of paper, why don't you ask two questions at the same time?
You mean opt out like now or when we're long?
Whenever, when you're gonna ask
I
people,
think,
if
yes,
at the same time, you're asking people for their email saying, oh, and by the way, would you like to opt out of paper?
We can do that. I mean, I would want them to get it one way or another.
I'd have to look at, we have to look at the,
Covenant.
well, no, the program we use to
Oh,
create the paper newsletters
There's
and
a-
opt-outs even
Well,
an option.
it's something that we,
It's in the.
the newsletters provided, the address is provided by the office every time we're gonna send it, because obviously it changes daily. And so it would seem like that would have to be something they would load into the system to include on the spreadsheet, property owners, so that we would sort them out.
Yeah, but the.
we can look at it. I'm,
Paper newsletter's not created electronically either, so we have to do two newsletters.
Right, we'd have to
Versions of the
do-
newsletter to make that happen, so they, better than opt out of the paper newsletter, we migrate our way out of the two other paper newsletters if we're getting the we're getting the signups for the email, because it's two totally different programs that you do the newsletter through. If you're doing it, the roundup electronically versus you're doing the paper one.
right.
And you can't attach a
Right.
PDF to the roundup, so that's not a solution.
Right. And it's likely that, because I know, like Deb said, MailChimp is limited to what you can attach to it. Electronically, but I don't know if you can.
Well,
We're-
the problem is, I think, are you saying opt out of the paper to save money on mailings and whatnot?
Save money to save for the policy. It's the whole,
What we're discussing
it's
is,
the whole purpose of paper.
what we're discussing is we don't know if the program that we use to create and mail the hard copy newsletter has an opt-out feature in it.
I can tell you how I did for the HOA if you want.
Well, like, you're not sending out 2,400 paper copies of it, so.
Same process.
What,
But if we don't use the same vendor.
yes, we will look into it.
We'll look at it,
Yeah.
but I can't answer it right now. I don't
I
know the
didn't ask
answer.
you to. I didn't ask you to look. that's
Okay,
all I
thank you.
asked you. All I asked
Okay,
you to do
well,
is
we'll
look
check into it. We'll look into it.
Mine open tomorrow, open,
Well-
okay,
Okay, we'll look into it.
okay, oh, there you go. Okay, and while you're speaking of looking into, John, I encourage you to look into, again, like you said, $100 a round. I encourage you to look into the true cost of an attorney. Because again, maybe you can find one for $100, but in my 14 years of experience of working with attorneys, they work by the hour.
So we have one.
Okay.
We already have a collection attorney that's given us that
Oh, I'm
this is what
sorry,
is
I
up front.
misunderstood when you
This
said,
is what is.
when you said, I don't know, I guess, around 100.
so-
Okay, I
so-
misunderstood what
Yeah.
you were saying. I didn't know that you already had one.
And
The community events, would that also include like the fireworks display?
It could.
Okay. Okay, and then the golf cart ride, you were saying that that's a community event, but that's not really, because that's just the golf cart riders.
the cruise and rangery event. will-
Yeah, I think that's the one where they went to people's houses and everybody like hosted a stop. There was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 stops. It was back in May. There were cars in it as well.
It was advertised as a community event.
No email, no golf cart.
Yeah, it was. And there were people at homes that just stayed at their homes.
I think that's still being worked out exactly, Kevin.
Yeah.
It's just,
Okay, I'm just trying to follow the, bouncy ball. So And I guess when you were talking about the hang tag, when you're down at the beach and you have, is this only for vehicles but not for golf carts, correct? It's only for hang, okay. So when you're down at the beach and you have a hang tag in a vehicle, how will you know whether that hang tag is, that there's actually a property owner down there with that hang tag?
We wouldn't,
The
same
same
as
way
we
we
would,
do now.
same as we would.
How?
We don't.
No.
That's the point of.
Yep, same as we don't know if you gave your car to somebody that's not with you and they drive down to the beach and park your car there, we don't know.
My car.
Your car, if you have a beach sticker on your car, or this
I
window
don't have a
sticker.
big sticker.
Okay, I'm just saying hypothetically, Kathy, if you gave your car to somebody that had, and it had a sticker on it, and they parked down at the beach and you weren't with them, then they can park the car at the beach, okay, but they're not at the beach according to the rules of Raintree, because you
Okay.
need to be with your guests.
Okay, so now I'm really confused, John, because I thought this whole point was to avoid something like that.
No,
No, no.
not to avoid the car stickers are really doing us no justice. It's basically for 13 spots down there. So we're trying to give the hang tag so they use that and are consistent with who gets hang tags. And, you know, a lot of people don't even care about going to the beach. Deb doesn't care. So she won't buy no hang tag. So the purpose is
So
that,
then why would anybody buy it if we don't care whether anybody's got a hang tag or not, or who's down there with a hang tag, or whether.
we do. Now, if this process,
Also eliminating
Wait a
gas.
minute, I'm quite so confused.
if you have a hang tag,
And the answer was.
There's two.
we only know that the property owner purchased a hang tag. We don't know if they're down there with their guest or not. They could, like John said, they could give their golf cart to anybody and run down there and park at the beach. Well, not their golf cart, but a car. So right now, there could be 13 vehicles parked down there right now as we speak, and we don't know if one of them is a homeowner. We know they are a property owner. We know they bought a sticker, but we don't know if they're down there with them. That might be their guests, their cousins, their nephews, somebody they work with.
Who's down there, it's just the essence of making a use for.
We don't have a great means of checking that without being
You don't know if
intrusive.
they're down there.
We care.
It's not a matter of not.
For the office workers,
They're
right?
two different issues, Kim. They're two different issues.
I'm
They're
just
two-
wait,
okay,
Kathy,
hang on.
wait and listen.
Listen, today, there are 3 or 4 different ways that you can park down at the beach. If you buy the car sticker, you can park at the lower level or any of the other lots. If you got a hang tag, you can park on the hill or any of the other lots. If you come up here and get a guest pass, you can park on the hill or any of the other lots.
Okay.
So hang on, let us finish. No, hang on, let us finish.
John, can we stay focused on the beach parking? Because isn't that what the essence of the hang tag is for?
Yes,
Okay, John, can we please stay focused?
well,
on
that's what I'm talking about. I don't know where you're headed to.
No, if you want to-
I did. But that's beach parking, Kathy. Kathy, that's beach parking.
Let's stay focused on the beach parking, okay? Okay, 13, let's stay focused, okay, go ahead.
I'm not saying anything else. You seem to have it all, so.
No, John, I don't have it all, that's why I'm.
Go ahead.
Okay, hang on.
All right, right.
What the hell's going on?
So to answer your initial question that apparently you can't seem to get a proper answer for,
Right,
the reasoning for wanting to switch to the hang tags is because we have people already that park down there. They don't have a sticker, they don't have a hang tag. They're still doing stuff down there that they shouldn't be doing, and we have no way of identifying them. If we give people these hang tags, if they buy these hang tags, if they are down there without a property owner, they have that hang tag. That hang tag, if they're doing something they're not supposed to, you've got a picture of their hang tag. We have a record of their information for it, and that's an automatic way to censure them to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
Okay, what happens if they're down there without a hang tag?
They get
Then
towed.
they get
Then they
towed.
get towed.
So we got the same scenario over again. But we don't have the revenue from the stickers,
We're getting the revenue from the hang tags.
but it's not as much. Because you have less people buying hang tags than you do stickers.
We don't know that yet.
You buy a hang tag,
The rights and powers,
who's got a sticker on your car?
put rights and powers. I shouldn't have to pay for this. I should get rights and powers.
Okay, I mean, it's just, it's the same scenario, it's all over again.
Well,
And the
no.
other thing too is, I don't know, I'm guessing that all of this board was not here in the late nineties, okay? No, I did not own a house, no, but I was here several times with my brother. Okay, with a property owner in the late nineties. My niece was a student at Cedar Hill, okay, Northwest, okay? It was $25 for a gate card. Okay, now, what's to stop? I'm gonna start selling hang tags at school.
Because now we can track it
And then
though.
you're gonna have, they kept track of gate cards too.
Right, and that's how we get a hold of some of these people.
They kept track of gate cards. What's to stop here? Here's a scenario. I'm gonna have my kids are having a party Friday night. Guess what? 18 of them are gonna, no, I'm sorry, 13 of them are heading down with their cars. Each of them has a hang tag. Go down there.
Kathy Porter better be with them.
No more guests.
Yeah.
No more guest pass.
I want to win the game. They all did it. They got into the game. But I gave them all a, but they all have name tags. Because they want to be cool. No, they want to be cool.
Okay,
You want to be cool, they're gonna be- You'll be proud of them.
if they've got hang tags down there, you have to be with them.
You can't prove that.
Yes, we can with the new hang tags, we can. Because it's getting,
More than 25. You know everybody in this place?
I don't need to know it if we got a tag that we can check with the QuickBooks to say, tag 101 belongs to Kathy Porter. That's how we would do it.
You guys think that you guys are complaining now about being called out. Good luck to you.
What difference does the hang tag make to the sticker right now?
What?
What difference does the hang
Joe.
tag make to the sticker right now? If you're down there with your sticker, so take my household right now. I have 3 cars
You
with
can't
all.
sell a sticker. You can't sell a sticker.
Oh.
So, wait, you sell your sticker. Come on.
You can't sell a sticker. You sell a
How can you get in?
Right.
Right.
Only take it.
Not your obvious.
It's a-
It's a run blood test at the gate.
Hang tag. Now you put the office.
I didn't, my kids get help with you. Don't put all this on the video.
Hang on a minute, John. Hang on. All right, hang on. I'll say one last thing. Anybody can drive your car with the sticker on the windshield, and you're right, they can't sell that. But we also don't know if the person down there is that. With the hang tag, if somebody sells that and they do something wrong, we track it back to the property owner and we can do something about it. Plus it eliminates the 3 or 4 different types of access to that parking lot area down there. So it might not work, Kathy, I don't know, but we got to try something because what we've been trying with the car stickers and the amount of time at the office, it don't work.
And thank you for your input.
Pardon me?
And thank you for your.
Thank you for your input. Joe?
You guys are rooting for that. But us, I think you're gonna have a problem. The other thing too is under rights and powers, I don't think you should sell them. I have the right to go down that beach, and if you're gonna give hand tags, you wanna give away free. I mean, I can see it on the boats and the golf carts. They're moving vehicles. But a hang tag under rights and powers, I don't think we can sell.
Wait, let me just understand. You said on a moving vehicle, you're okay with, but not a hang tag for a vehicle?
You're gonna charge, what, $40?
10 or 20, what was it?
Whatever it is, under rights and powers.
Where?
Where does it say on there that?
Well, Joe, we're charging that now. They've been charging that for however long car stickers have been around.
Well, that's different.
Well, that's the only place you can put it. You can't walk down there with a hang tag. At least I don't think you can.
You don't need it.
No, I'm just
You don't have anything to park.
Yeah, it's only for parking.
Okay, right now, property owners park more.
Right.
So after this, yes, or anybody.
No, just property owners.
Well, anyone with a hang.
Anybody that-
Well, true, but the property owner bought the hang tag, so they have to be with whoever's parking down there. So to answer your question, yes, only property owners. Will people violate it? Probably. No different than we have to have a tow truck on hand 24 hours a day down there during the summer, but it's a means to try to solve a larger problem. And it may not work, but we got to try something.
Gotta make goddamn sure, whatever you do, you don't get cars backed up.
Right.
The second thing, if after hours, how are guests gonna get it?
After I was just,
Same thing. We
Yeah.
have to move our guest gate from back of there and have an additional one up here.
once the gate closes after hours, like, in the summertime later because of golf season and whatnot, but during the other times of the year, it'll be earlier. They'll have access to get through that gate or the guest access will be there somewhere. That's all still being figured out. We haven't signed or agreed to anything yet.
The last 2 or 3 years, I've been asking about the Stoiker. What's the name, Stoiker? The new house down on East Fifth. Sorry, it's Scott.
Okay.
Anyway, that road cut there is really bad.
Oh, I know.
There's a lot of bad ones, yeah.
Now it's just going Amber's not gonna fix it. I talked to Dennis, I talked to Dennis, and Dennis told me to put it on the work order. Dennis told me to put it to work. I did put a work order in. I talked to Tom, and Tom said it needs to be cut out because it's collapsing. It's only gonna get worse. And every time I hit that bump, my life bitches. And I try not to hit it. So right now I go around it. But it's not gonna get better.
No, you're right, Joe. And honestly, around like East Vista, West Vista, there's a lot of them in there. They're teeth chatterers. No, I know, but I think that what we need to do is figure out, yeah, there needs to be a campaign and we need to, just like the roads, to figure out, I mean, that's the biggest pothole I've ever seen. So what we need to do is kind of basically add that to our roads budget and have those fixed in those specific locations.
Now, I mean, John said, we have a surplus in roads.
I don't think that's Ameren though. That was 3 houses that were built all around the same time. And I think that one road cut's been done twice already.
They don't run their power.
Yeah, they don't do that though.
They did one just now.
All right, we'll take a look at it and get back to you. Linda.
Yeah, I'll try.
Hang on, folks. Linda, I know you better than that.
We're allocating you 40 minutes.
I love the process of complete conversations that you're having, because that's probably what our problems are here or have been, is just processes need to be improved. So thank you for taking, a focus on that. And I interrupted you, John. Will, thank you for slapping me on the can, but the idea was, please don't vote on new business, until, right? And that was a process improvement you all did a while ago, that new business came up, you wouldn't vote on it. So I was trying to stop you, John, from not doing a motion for whatever was gonna happen next week. If you find, this was just a thought, as I was listening, if you find that we have to go on it now because we have to do blah, 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 you might stop at that point and go, let's ask these audiences been sitting here for 3 hours for some input specific to that topic, and then vote. Don't have.
I just want to respond to one thing that you said that kind of triggered my mind. For John not to make the motion really doesn't ever get the discussion open in new business. So he's got to at least make the motion. We can always table the motion just, so that is the order of process.
So.
I'll look into how to engage the only issue I see with that, Linda, one, maybe not the only issue.
Just thought if you need to go on something right away, you can't make it, please ask those.
Usually those are financial things most of the time, are campground rental.
Last month's meeting where there was conversation about, look how poorly attended, our meetings are.
General meeting.
Whatever meeting.
We called all the 75-year-olds in the neighborhood and said, come up tonight.
Which is night in.
So, asking for input when it's appropriate at the right time. I get that you're trying to do crowd control and all that. I totally get it. But continue to smile at us. Thank you for doing that. I love the acronym, whatever it's called. Thank you for that. Because input is important. And the more input and voice that you get, the more people are going to show up. Because guess what? We do get input and voice. And then we'll keep coming. So that's a cool thing. Okay, there.
I would love to have these meetings at the college like they used to do it.
Yeah.
Now we're
So
using
your comment about dying, people are dying to get in here, gated community as it's, blessings and curses or whatever. But we should remember that, and we should, in my opinion, go to that kind of a welcome orientation meeting. Because guess what, people, you're dying to get in here. So here's our process. When you're new here, this is what we tell you all about Braintree. This is where, and Deb, you might remember this, when we started that email launch for MailChimp, we had a forum. And we took it up to the office. And when people came out, we said, hey, we're starting a new email campaign, blah, 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 blah. If you don't want to do it, opt out here, sign that you said, I don't care, and we're good, That was our way of getting people to go, yeah, for sure I want in, or no, I'm not an email person for whatever reason. Okay, no problem, but you're not going to get information.
To that point, a couple of the membership parks I belong to, when you go to purchase one, they take you out on a golf cart, they show you the lakes, the golf course, the pavilion, whatever. If we could do something like that, we could advertise that on our website, or maybe real estates. Hey, come visit. We're having an open house today. Take, or if somebody comes in and says, I just wanted to look at some lots. Hopefully we could work with somebody that they could do a tour of this place instead of trying to sneak in or break through or
We have plenty of people.
bring it. Like Desiree said, bring that to us.
I think it wasn't opt out. They understood what that meant. That means you're not gonna. We did have a conversation one time in our communications committee about the mailings, because the cost of them. And one of the ideas was if you really felt like you needed to get a piece of paper and someone to just mail, postcard it. Because it's much cheaper. That basically says, go to the website. There's new information you need to go to the website. And at least bring a $2,000 cost per mailing down to, I don't know.
It's not a bad idea. Just
At least, if not forever, transition. This is what we're doing now. This is what we're doing now. If you want information, email, blah, 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 or website, get the information. They don't have to be email people, they can just go to the website. But at least tell them, by postcard that way. That was one of the thoughts. Okay, well, I'm almost done. Money. Oh my God. Screening, repair, and all that. So when you guys do bids and you ask the community, do you ask our range? Is there anyone here that offers a service that could possibly do it at cost? Because John Willett, when you said this is your money that we're spending, I'm like, oh my God, let's quit spending that $2,000 on a mailing that everybody throws in the trash. But anyway.
to that question, we haven't for this tree, but I was thinking the same thing, what you just said. But that came from the maintenance department and they probably aren't aware of that because we have solicited applicants for other issues
Right, okay.
or positions.
Does anybody know this, what that costs to save us all money, right? At least now, maybe not forever, but at least now since we have no money. It sounds like. Okay, you had said, someone said gate crasher and 5 times in 2 weeks or whatever.
Serial gate crasher.
Sorry. So.
He called it.
Trademark. I love it.
Didn't even know his name.
Well, the pieces still cost money to do. Eventually, if they keep breaking these gates, it's going to cause the whole system to go down. And then if we lose a gate, that's gonna be,
But
well, I wouldn't.
if maintenance
No.
puts it up, yes, there is a cost because they're on the clock. Drive through it and you'll find out.
This is crazy. It's part of the level orientation is telling them that you're responsible for your guests, which I know we are.
We sign it every time, or every new person that moves in signs it when they get their gate card.
Okay, along with the other rules that you want
Right.
them to know about, and that could be just part of the process. And again, sign that they got that piece of paper. Yes, I understood. I got it. Yes, I understand. They can't come back and go, no one ever told me, yeah, you kind of find right
They
there.
do sign it.
Good.
And
For every,
Every person, every property
to
owner. signs
answer
it.
your question about the cost, it could cost as little as 2 plastic nuts. And I could do it, and I could do it for free, or
Yeah.
maintenance department could do it, it's still 2 plastic nuts, but you're paying for, labor. Or, if it, it could be, the whole mechanism is broke, so the cost.
For all of us to understand that, including new people that, responsible for their guests, whoever said something like, somebody was coming through and just purposely bashing it, throwing it. Hopefully found that person and it's now their cost, not ours. Is that-
Unfortunately, we couldn't,
Yeah.
because they didn't have a sticker, they didn't have a name tag, they didn't have any identifiable things, which is
Yeah.
why I mentioned the pictures.
If we get the picture, we turn it over to the police department, they file the proper charges. We sometimes get our money back out of it, sometimes we don't.
And it might be too late with Mike, but I totally love the recount of this gentleman. People talk about need access and all that, but you all got pictures and we're all going.
We still got a lot to go through before we ever get to that. At the town hall, we'll do that. Well, we want to do it every 4 weeks, so every other, like, third Monday, maybe the first Monday, or I don't know if Mondays are gonna work, maybe we rotate it. One time it's during the week, maybe it's a Sunday or, Friday night wouldn't be a good idea, but I don't know that it's set in stone other than we all want to do it. And we,
The town hall's gonna take care of a lot of it. The communications that are happening is gonna take care of a lot of it. Smile's gonna take care of a lot. That was our mission. Teaching people from the get-go, that would be the only other thing is the welcome and orientation. Like everything you all are talking about, that's what CRC is doing. So do we need a separate committee? I don't know. It sounds like.
Unless you guys are interested in doing exactly what Dave mentioned about taking potential people or new homeowners around and showing them things,
Yeah, that would be a welcome committee. It doesn't have to be.
knock on their door saying, hi, thanks for
finance.
all that.
Thank you.
All right, yes, ma'am, back there at the back that's asleep. What can I help you with? If-
Welcome everybody. The other thing is, I had a question about the gate thing. He was talking about the closing off up here by the gatehouse,
Right,
which will close that road off,
right.
and does
Well, you didn't see the picture, but So-
Does it also close off the drive or the parking lot?
Yes, there would be some kind of fence or gate system there where you could meet a vendor or a pizza guy or the school bus or whatever. But the gate he's talking about is right where the guard shack is, where there's like 2 lanes right there. So the gate would go across the main road and the fence would go across or the gate, I guess it is. It's movable during the day. And then the gate access would be between the guard shack and that gate that goes across the road. So at night you would go through there.
Now, my question is, when is that closed and when is that open?
No idea. We haven't even got that far into it.
Because
We just got this today.
Okay, my question is, or my comment to you is, as you're looking at that, we were gonna put a gate down further so that it would be one gate for the whole community. We couldn't do it.
Right, we
because of the
can't.
country club.
Right, that's why it's got to stay open during the day.
Right, so that just,
Once we get into it a little bit more, like I said, we just got this information today and he was
Right.
nice enough to come up. I've actually got a couple gate companies that I would like to get bids from to do
Yeah.
the gate work and fence work as well, but
I don't know if you were all aware of that.
yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
The other thing was the stickers on the car windows and the tags. Do we really, I mean, I know you're trying to get, it just seems like we keep spending money to try to, I understand what you're trying to do, but it seems like we keep spending money to try to fix this, to try to fix that, to try to fix that. You know what I'm saying?
To answer your first part of the question, the hang tags are about the same price as the car stickers.
So
So
now would you phase out the stickers when the sticker is?
goodbye.
If you would give them their admin. Okay, so you're not really losing money on that part, okay.
No,
Okay, that's-
and I would assume we would probably order less hang tags, but they're gonna be at a larger cost. So we hope there's a break even there somewhere. You gotta take into consideration the time and effort the office has to do, the time and effort security has to do down there, and then the issues with the tow truck and whatnot. So we're just trying to simplify things and make it easier on the staff.
Yeah, I understand now that you can replace the sticker when your stickers due up and you'll get your.
Right.
I get that. I thought you were gonna just have everybody get the hang tags and. You know, I thought it was like
Duplication.
overspending.
No.
Yeah.
About the same price.
You know what I'm saying?
Simplification, not complication.
Yeah, then the other thing was, never mind, go ahead, 'cause everybody-
Go ahead. I'll get you next.
No, I was gonna say, Nancy was what?
Wait a minute, you can't yield. You don't get to yield your floor time. This ain't a court of law.
Sold it in school.
Down there at that, people just put a little gravel pad down there. I mean, that was kind of.
I told her we would look into it.
You know, because I mean, you don't want to be parked on the street, and how else are you gonna get down there? That's, I think that does come. The other thing is, and I know my hearing's bad.
Hang on a minute. You didn't even finish yelling at me and you started on the next one.
I'm not yelling at you. Well, first off, I'll do that.
I thought they were.
You guys hear tornadoes or David? I didn't know. if we-
Hearing aids for Kent.
Yeah, I know, I need to do that. First off, Dave, you are absolutely correct that the finances is the most important thing on the whole damn committee, and I hope that the new people there, that they see how you guys have held this whole place together with duct tape and rubber bands and scotch tape, and it's been incredible, but when we're talking about taking $6,000 away from roads to take down a couple trees, I mean, that just shows how dire it is at times. you know, the other thing is that the witches night out, I mean, I wasn't able to attend, but I heard it was a great success. And I'm glad that we were able to do that. You know, a couple of years ago, it would have probably been, somebody would say, well, no, we can't hold an event like that because we're afraid somebody's gonna trip over a rock and they're gonna sue us. You know, we gotta kind of move on past being worried about being sued all the time, in my opinion. I don't see okay. What is, you know, I mean, the POA attendance right now, you know, this meeting, I mean, there's 17 people here in town, you guys.
And we're not all 75.
Yeah, and we're not all 75 and some of us are here. But really, is a town hall going to bring in that many more people? Stop advertising this as a POA meeting and say we're having a town hall up at the country club or up at the meeting.
Well, I don't have, hang on. I don't have a problem with that, but a town hall's format is different. It's open, it's,
very good.
we're gonna conduct a little bit of finance at the next one, and then it's all on you guys. What do you want to talk about? Bring something to us.
But they, I mean, once a month.
I'd like to.
I mean, you know, like, I think once a quarter would be suffice, but. You
Well, the
know.
reason, well, and it might be, we want to start off with once a month because we feel like that would be an opportunity. This thing that John, we tabled for the hang tags or whatever, would be a perfect opportunity to get it out there. Then we get it done at the next board meeting. So we're a little more efficient and timely on things that need to be decided on. That's the only reason I say once a month. If I'm the only board member up here, we'll go to quarterly. Right, I agree.
But, okay, so first off, it would be nice to have a time limit for people to talk. 5 minutes would be good. For me. So keep that in mind.
He said, first off, we can do that later.
Keep that in mind. By the way, it's something I can talk to me. So keep that in mind. This next question.
Well, this must be the tough one, huh?
So does that mean he gets another, his time starts all over?
He's up.
So I had one, and this was okay, that's all kind of, that was just wrong. So here's my main thing that I had here. Wait a second, yeah, this is Joan talking, so. I have number 6 on the ballot, this ballot that we just voted on. I voted for it, okay, and this one was the board to designate how many people could be in a committee. Okay, so that we're clear about what was being done. The committee makeup shall consist of individuals of the board of directors for the position of the chair and the co-chair. I'm just going to use the architect committee as my example. So Nick is the chair, Keith is the co-chair. Any other individuals currently on the board of directors can attend any meeting, but they cannot vote. Great. But then it says, except when a vote is necessary for a tie. Now, this is where I talked to Deb about this during the election. I said, this is, I don't know. And I just wanted to bring that up. So as an architect meeting, okay, we went through this several times last year with the wake posts, with Sophie, with other things. It's a mess. So, I mean, I think that it's great that we just have, in other words, Nick's wife can't be on the board, Keith's wife can't be on the board,
Yeah, for the architects.
On different committees and stuff like that. I think that's great.
And the way we run it, Ken, the way we run it is I will reserve my vote if there's a tie as the chair.
And that's the way, well,
But it doesn't read that way.
It says except for if votes told, so therefore, like the one time, Desiree was there, and I even asked her, I'm gonna be here in case there's a tie. And she was there, well, you were there for the rules too, you were there
Right.
for
I was
other
not
things
there
too.
for.
But you did mention that in there, and I thought, yeah, Joan and I, we had talked about that, when this thing came out. And I wasn't able to attend the last 2 meetings since the vote took place. So me personally, I like the way this
worse. Dave, you can make by the way, you said something earlier. I entertain a motion. And
I don't like-
to make a motion, and then later on, you made other motions later on. I don't have a problem with the president making a motion or to do something. But then, Dave, you get to vote on the tie.
Right.
So, I mean, during the architect committees, I don't think it's, Nick, you can say, I make a motion to accept the Jarris deck. But then only if it's a tie, you would get the vote. And I don't see where the board member, that extra little part that was thrown in, that other little thing,
So-
why was that put in there?
Well,
That's
it's
my
just,
question. Anybody take your own question.
okay,
It only means that the board members are not on the committee, are not going to vote in the committee on an item unless a tie break's needed. And then either the chair, like in ACC, either Nick or Keith would cast the tie breaking vote. But other than that, the board members that are formally part of the committee, not the ones in attendance, if they choose to show up,
They
they
can't vote.
right.
cannot vote.
But there would be no reason for them to vote because.
They're not part of the
So-
Only the chair.
All the committees are set up with a chair and a co-chair, and common sense prevails, and maybe we didn't word that properly. But the chair and the co-chair should really never, ever vote. They can bring motions, they can make seconds, but it's for the committees. Otherwise, why have committees? So they vote, and if it ends up being a 6-6 committee, then either Nick or Tim break the tie. Keith, if Keith would vote yes, and now it's 7-6, Nick would reserve his vote and not
And
vote
if
at
you
all.
know, if you notice, that's the way we've been running.
Done, but
That's not the way I read.
this little thing.
Maybe we clean that up. We'll clean it up next year, but
Okay, all right, because that was, I was all for it, and then Bill says, well, now, wait a second, what is this? And I said, and I'll bring it, I'll waste your 5 minutes talking about it. One other thing, Dave, your place out in Florida?
yeah, it's good.
Okay, that's it.
Lost a roof, lost a tree. Lost a lanai roof, just a lanai roof. I was gonna tear it down anyway and rebuild it. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Reference to.
Hang on, I want to yell at quiet over there.
Company, are we also going to be requesting attorney's fees?
Yes. Chances are we may not get them. It's a crapshoot. I will say, yeah, attorney's fees are what side of the bed did the judge wake up on, really?
Okay. In regards to the town hall meetings, I highly recommend you offer them in a hybrid form.
Hybrid meaning as business.
If you're gonna have them here, also offer people to tune in via Zoom or.
Zoom is a problem because we only get so many people that can connect. Not that that's a problem, but when we do it at a board meeting, it's a back and forth, mute, unmute, who's talking, who's not talking. And it makes it a little more difficult to manage when I'm trying to listen to everything that's going on, but we can try to do that. Derek was just out of town. That's why he wasn't here.
Kevin also has not been managing open forum questions online anymore.
Oh, he hasn't? Oh,
Well, that's the thing too, is that we can discuss, maybe there's a way we can do a Facebook Live, a YouTube Live, something of that nature.
Manage that.
Yes, a moderator, if you will, right? Okay,
are you volunteering that position?
all right, perfect. Well, town hall will be in the next one.
That's how I got up here.
Yeah.
As far as doing the introductions and holding people accountable and going over what the rules were ahead of time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm recommending you consider that format in addition to having people in the audience.
Was it a Zoom call?
Yes.
There may be a way to do your social media on this too, because I've seen Instagram Live, which it probably won't play with this group, but like the Instagram Live will have a live feed, and you can comment, and the comment will have a timestamp on what was said when, And then that moderator can just read the comments as they come in, and there may be not that many of them, but something to that extent.
But that's what Derek has too,
Yeah.
right? That's what Derek's feed would show also, isn't that about the same? It's just that Derek's not reading them right now.
I think he might even have them disabled.
He was doing them on YouTube. I know the last couple of ones that I watched live, I was not able to comment or ask a question.
Yeah,
We
I think
can,
that's
we've been talking about that because Derek's out of town and now we don't have a live stream, so we have been talking about that.
In regards to the trees, when you're gonna cut them down and whatnot. It's more about communicating when that's going to happen to the community, so we can monitor if they're gonna like block off the roads. Announce it as much as possible, and that actually applies to any type of maintenance that's going on that affects the traffic flow. For
Tom is,
example, I had no idea, and I don't even know if it was the PA doing work or not, but whatever drainage ditch that they were working on between John's house and the Schaefer's house.
that was EPA, yeah, I didn't know about it
I
either.
didn't either. I walked right past it. What is that?
If we had.
Did you have a hang tag? Did you have a hang tag?
Someone throw a shoe.
I'll let Tom know. He's usually pretty good when he knows about it. Well, John's not got any updates, or Denny, and the last I heard, they're waiting on a bolt, still waiting. But I think we said November timeframe.
Well, Steve
Tentative.
O'Connor,
We don't have them.
Oh, we don't?
Not have them. Time frame they gave us is passed and they're not giving us a new time.
well, he was in the pro shop the other day when we were talking. And I asked him if he had any updates, and he said still the same, is what he said, still October. But
They're running out of time.
yeah, they are, but that's why I asked him that. So
Actually, the hard part's done.
The approval.
So you're gonna find us a moderator and some software?
I mean, if it's.
Yeah, I would see what we can do. I mean,
you're sharing the ring. you're
Yes.
talking about.
Kathy.
Taking a nod from everything that I had to say before people get up.
Oh.
I just wanted to say thank you so much to the new board. Kudos, yes, this is a very long meeting. I think you all excelled at all your committees. Full nod to Deb for stepping in. It's just finance just boggles me, and it was exceptional, as Dave said. So awesome. And you know what, with the SMILE, let's just leave everybody with a smile and we don't do all of it.
I always say to my guys when I shoot their ass, I always let them leave on a good note. So everybody have a good day on Tuesday. Don't forget to buy your hang tags tomorrow. Thanks for showing up, everybody.
Sorry.
Everybody. Good. We'll do, no problem. Yeah, he's doing it.
If not, then I'm gonna propose to change the covenant because it wasn't for safety. It was only for safety. You know?
Well, especially because you got locked in.
Nice to meet you.
You got locked in.
Sorry, Kate. All right. I had a guy come to my office today. I told him I was paying. He said, I could do it. I did that well, it's fine, another company, but he didn't pick it up. I tell them, Nick tells them, 9 different.
And they go, oh, you should ride with us. So I get up front with her and she goes, oh, she's in their house. Those people in their house. I'm just like, I got off the boat and I thought,
How many times? What time is it? After, 20 minutes. Year one. More every year. People about who presented were at 8 right now. We got a phone down. Oh, they have no. 3,200 lots. I'm granted not all of them are building. But let's just say 25. Right. Are you kidding me? That whole campground should be a parking lot. The whole pavilion should be a parking lot. And get it to train, kind of dictated what the, they just didn't plan well. Yeah. Too small to handle it, right? Yeah. They don't have the right. I mean, that's for 3 years now. I tried to get it big ball, and right side out, put a wall in there, bring that wall down farther, and put a swale behind it. You got a more level. You can wrap all over. Where a boat can drop off, tie off, and dump on the boat. That wall over there, yeah. Trees, the trees are on the pavilion. That kind of looks really good. Drop them at the pavilion. Really good something.
Because, we got our backyard is still behind my concern of something on my class, my nursing father, I love them. So, it's kind of, it's a lot, but.
When I built my next house, I was a little guy from church, and he dropped them. My friend, I'm still burning firewood. I took it to my office and I burned it back everyone. They would have to go around. I dropped two of them. They dropped one on the property line. And it cost me $300 a pound. And all he did was I had to cut it off, drag it all back. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I agree. I don't know why, I don't know. Such history, you don't need anybody to break. Here we're the best. We always gotta go to the Craigslist.
Right. So, I mean, sometimes I hear that, and then
Because,
sometimes I go,
it's not broken.
and then I can hear, you say he lives here?
Within 5 miles.
The committee, the security meeting, the guy that, said I get.
And I was going. Yeah, he's been an employee for a year.
I didn't look at it. I hear that, and it's like, what? It's a little-
I think it's really responsible.
I love what I can't see. No, but I totally agree.
Oh, I agree.
It's only in place when they want to do it.
I think part of it might have. But give it an opportunity at least. Well, Rachel. Well, then we dropped 375 or a week ago Saturday. We went over to Home Depot and Preston, rented one of them like lift that raise up in a bucket. He cut them down. He had Bill Hensley, who was next to him,
we tied the rope over a thing. I thought, well, we're just gonna put it down, so we lowered it down. But most of the oak tree, so it was solid. What is, I said to Bill after we got into this, and then, it's got these outriggers that you put stable yourself, and I forget where I was at. I went to go get some plugs. I got this outrigger on a piece of wood and 2 stone blocks, and the thing's like angling like this. And I'm like, Bill, please lower that damn thing. Let's reset this leg. And after we got into about 2 or 3 branches. I mean, I'm not saying anything. On the pavilion lot, I think we could maybe, and then maybe we only gotta worry about countries. Yeah. It's still going in over a 5-year period. Technically, that's going to be. So even though we're not going to use it this year, if at the end of the year we don't use it, I would say throw it back into the building right now. Yeah, I mean, putting one of the. Yeah, what we budget versus and what we got. I like all the email notifications. When did it come out for this one? I'm really surprised that anything on it supposed to get COA offer. Offer manager, if we can COA. My mom started out. Your bills out. What would you call it? Lifting your church on it. And now she's got this, what's called 10 toes, where they all, these old gals go out and walk all around the park and whatnot. She just said, well, we notify them. Oh, we're gonna meet in a little park or something.
Email.
Keep going, everybody. It's not much. I got a key. Right.
No. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's everybody. 252, what does it matter now? Out of here.
One, two, three, four.
Yeah.
I set it for 3 hours.
And so it might have cut off.
It's possible, usually it'll keep,
Well,
but I thought it would be a long.
Yeah. And I,
Yeah.
I'd have to figure out how to get into it, because that's what they're gonna do the minutes, but I know Deb was scribbling through it, but I got a lot down for it. Took it her. It could be because it's 11 o'clock. I don't know. We're done. You have to remember that when you have to tell if they violated any law, if we record these meetings, make the recording public, do we have to have system handwritten typed up minutes, meetings? Since electronic recording. I think so, maybe, but I think Desiree found a good thing about that physical mailing. I'm a little dig into that a little bit too.
For rude people.
Yeah.
But all they have to do is like pay an extra couple dollars, they can take out their anger on someone other than their family.
You know, I didn't look at it that way. It would be that the rude person would get angrier, Emily, watching other people get better deals. That would just piss me off.
And then they're just like, what